player number 5 is already playing down towards the bottom right-hand side of the map, just trying to make sure nobody's going to be able to break on in. Alpha's here. He's been on fire all game long, and then they've still got a player in top lane as well to help just kind of control everything, keep it shut down for themselves, and they win out on all the gunfights. That setup is so hard to break, and UNC Wilmington holding it to perfection right there.
Cruz, this is where I said things can get deadly. Look at the setup on the minimap that you have for UNC Wilmington. I mean, if Hills 3 and 4 were hard to break for Keiser, Hill 5 almost looks like an iron fortress in this setup. Attack, a big opening now, is going to force off a power angle from the assault rifle players. You're going to have to need the other two to kind of pick up where he left off. Alpha, 2 with the sub, so forget about the ARs there. The 74U can do exactly what you need to do. Sweets falls again. He has the teammates to back them up. 152-19 as Keiser's starting to... Well, I guess they're not starting to. They have been behind, starting to fall even more behind into this one. And this is where UNC are going to be looking to just flood on into this hill number 1 and take control of the next set of rotations.
And they've just looked unreal. And just speaking of unreal, I think Alpha, I think we really need to talk about him right now. 17-5. I think I've seen this guy go on at least 3 different 5 or 6 sprees right now. So it's really coming to a case of being when, if not if, he'll find streaks in this match, because he has just looked unreal for himself at the moment. If he can just find one more, a couple of these streaks that he's going on, he really would have them already. And you got to think that if he does find these streaks, it's absolutely going to bury this Keiser team at the moment. But head into our second set of rotations. Keiser will be the first team here inside the Plain Hill. And we talk about it all the time, but this hill can absolutely, on the second set of rotations, really turn into a money hill. So nice to see them early here on the rotation.
Here's where you're starting to get some time now for Keiser. You have to collapse it. Sweets and D-Tatty on either side. 3 down. Under easy break for Wilmington as Alpha cleans up that 4th one. You're looking to set up on these power positions again. And Sweets is just that guy with that AR, watching the cross, finds hits. D-Daddy can just really take up that scrappy work inside this hill. Mist is making the overextension underneath the plane, hopefully to sneak on by. Is able to take down Percy, who's up on that staircase, but it's calling for the rotation. D-Daddy picks him up. You still have the spawns, but it's going to be a race. It's a 2v2 inside the site. Player number 8, Alpha, just needs to stay alive in the backline, really, to hold things down for UNC.
UNC is just completely set up here one more time. D-Tatty winning that gunfight up top mid as well just helps them out so significantly because they can just hop into this hill and now just hold a bunch of different angles. I think Mist is the only player here really that can try to play spoiler. The rest of everybody, it's going to be a hit from the front once again from Keiser.
20 seconds. The contestant, D-Tatty, does not care for hits. You got hold 38, plenty of time to put this away. Homicide Chick is cut off from that cross. Alpha, the one to watch that one, having a stellar game, 23-7. As it's 2:45, you only need 5 more seconds. It's do or die for Keiser to get into this hill. Homicide Chick's gonna have the chance for contestation, but not gonna reach it. It's gonna nail in the coffin for a checkmate. It's 250-32, another statement hard point here in week number 4 for the stream. A blowout from Wilmington.
I mean, North Carolina, absolutely unreal first map here. I mean, they get a little bit fortunate a few times, and you got to think that the score could probably be a little bit closer to around 100 points if that on the second hill, if they don't get that spot up in the back for Sweets, which allows them to then pinch on into the hill, get that back 40 seconds on the likes of Keiser University. But still, nonetheless, besides that one little play there, the very, very clean game from the likes of UNC Wilmington for themselves. It really comes down to just a lot of, they're able to really get good breaks onto a lot of these hills once you saw UNC Wilmington set up. And if they're not breaking in on their first try, they're generally being that team that's the first team there and set up. So, I mean, I think if you're UNC Wilmington right now, you're taking a lot of good from that map. And I mean, if you're Keiser University, I think you just need to kind of brush that one off and look towards the search and destroy.
Oh, 100% you need to start looking at the search and destroy because it was over in a jiffy on hardpoint. One thing to highlight from Wilmington that I was impressed in is the trust that was coming through. The practice in the team play that I saw, they were chaining together double, triple kills, even quadruple kills at times with ease. In the situations, it shows that they're trusting that they have each other's backs. And the other side, Keiser, they just weren't getting that trades. And if I'm looking at the search and destroy being different, you need to get those trades out of this because you don't have the respawns to really kind of bunker down on. It's no respawns in search, as we know, as this is year however many of Call of Duty where search and destroy has been a thing. But I mean, heading into this map number 2, I think if you're Keiser University, you really need to start doubling down on those trades, if anything.
So here's the big thing too with when you're looking at Keiser University. I think this is their best chance of taking a map right now off of UNC Wilmington. If I'm being completely honest, it's the only map that UNC Wilmington lost last week was the Search and Destroy. So Keiser University, if you're really going to be able to take one right now, this is going to be the game for yourself. Yes, you did end up losing 6-4 to the likes of Full Sail Armada on your Search and Destroy when you play them, but UNC, the exact same thing. Same outcome, 6-4 loss to the likes of Full Sail Armada. So if they're able to come out here and kind of just play to their advantage, we're going to Moscow. We said it in our last series, we'll say it again. Moscow, it's all about your rotations and all about not making predictable plays over and over again. You just don't want to be hitting the same things. You don't want to be setting up the same way. You want to make it as hard as possible for the other team to get a read on you. And I mean, if Kaiser's able to do that here, I don't see why they can't take this map off of UNC Wilmington.
I don't see why not either. And I mean, when you're really comparing the Full Sail Armada games between the two, because that is the best comparison that we do have, is, I mean, this Keiser University squad, they played close to Full Sail, and Full Sail played close to University of North Carolina. So when you're kind of breaking down the both, and the fact that this Search and Destroy, so if it was Moscow that Keiser played Full Sail on, this should go the distance between these two, and it should be very close. The only thing that I need to see from Keiser are those trades to come on through, because the trades, they weren't there in Checkmate, and those got out of hand very fast. You started to see them chain together those kills with ease, like I was saying, in the combinations from Checkmate. So Moscow needs to be a different playing field when it comes to the kill factor. I think that Keiser, they have the fundamentals, they know the rotations, they know what they need to do for the strats. It's just coming out on top with the gunplay against Wilmington.
Yeah, and I think the only thing that might worry me a little bit now for Keiser University as well is, yes, like I said, this is probably your best chance of taking a map off of them. But when you really look over, like we were talking about, how the kind of matches between both teams having against the Full Sail Armada team, I thought that hardpoint was going to be a lot closer. Full Sail really only lost by what? It was 43 points they lost the hardpoint by, and Full Sail was able to beat UNC, or was able to beat Keiser by 6 points in the hardpoint. So I thought that was going to be a lot closer. So maybe we might not actually have maybe this might not be as big of a implication of how this series could go for itself, but I mean, that's really what we're hoping for here. And I think, honestly, that the Search and Destroy is going to be really tight looking at these two teams.
Yeah, like I said, on paper, it should be a tight game. If it really will be, that's up to Keiser right now. They might be struggling a little bit bringing in Homicidal Chick as their
I didn't
fourth.
even think about that,
with the substitute coming in, I mean, Neb not being there might be a big hit to Keiser. I don't know the situation of this team right now. This is the first time I'm seeing Keiser University play as a squad. So I'm looking really to kind of double down, make sure that your substitute is comfortable here in the series, make sure that everything is put together as a team, and that they're molding and strategizing together and making sure that you're playing off of each other. Because if Neb was really the stone that held this together, there could be a hit that you just weren't expecting from Keiser. So if Homicidal Chick's going to come into this and find success against Wilmington, she just needs to make sure that she's playing comfortably around her squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, I think, maybe a little bit easier to get comfortable in Search and Destroy as well than it is in Hardpoint. And I know how weird that might sound, but in Search and Destroy, there's so many more opportunities for you to really make a big individual play as well for your team, where you can make a big flank, kind of catch people off guard. You're not really as reliant on just pushing in towards a hard point with a team that you have no experience playing hard point with, right? We don't, again, like you said, we don't fully know this whole situation, so a lot of this is just speculation between the two of us. But you would definitely like to think like they haven't really gotten a lot of good practice in with Homicidal Chick right now. So if she can really kind of pick up her game, bring it in, and I mean, I don't even recall what she went in that first match. I don't off the top of my head, but I mean, with the score line, I can't imagine that it was very well.
It's going to be a tough one. It is going to be hard for Keiser to kind of go up against a team like University of North Carolina when they look this practiced, but it's do or die. It feels like this is the best chance you have against Wilmington in this series. It's the Search and Destroys your 2s and your 5s and try to sneak that control away if you can get that map number 3. Well, as we hop into Moscow, as we head to this one, Keiser, I mean, you know how Moscow usually works. It's the A site that we're looking at. So let's head to the Motherlands and see exactly how they're going to transition into the search and destroy. Already, University of North Carolina into this one. A lot of map control to A. Defensively, Keiser, they've given up a lot. Look at Alpha. He's going to get right in behind. Finds Tag, a second one around the corner. He's going to get challenged. Missed into it, but a nice disengage for Alpha to double down.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that setup was, but there was nobody on Keiser near that A site right now, or off the start of that round, and it has just been kind of a fundamental flaw off the start of this round here for themselves. And through the middle of the map, Hits wasn't able to find that kill into the back, and it's really just going to leave Homicidal Chick all by themselves here. Pushing up escalators, going to end up falling as well. And UNC Wilmington, I mean, they had a completely wide open bomb site, so why not take it, grasp it, put the bomb down, and just run away with it? That was a very, very clean round for themselves there.
Clean, indeed. Big misplay, I'd say, for giving up that A site.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you never want to give up that site, especially for free like that. And, I mean, maybe you give that up if you have a setup towards the bottom half side of your map where you can kind of like make a big flank play, set up a pinch in towards it. Maybe that's the only time I would say give that site up where you can set up something like that, but they weren't even set up for that, so I'm really not sure what that first round was.
Oh, on Boulevard, Sweets gets overwhelmed by Hits and go. So that is a big first blood. You look at the minimap, the instant rotations from University of North Carolina are going to be headed over to the B side. Still taking Boulevard is Keiser, so they're going to be slow into this as Wilmington, they're expecting that they're already there with the setup. It's going to be huge for the rotation. If player number 7 can overextend through the screens, might be able to cost this, but instead, it is going to be a head-on collision here from Keiser.
Really like to see that Keiser decide to hit towards that B side off the start of the round. They will keep their man advantage as well through the middle of this. Bomb should be going down here. D-Taddy doesn't see the bomb go down, and he hops out at just the wrong time here, and he's going to be in a 1 versus 2. Almost makes it a 1 versus 1, but he just couldn't find the kills. And Keiser, I mean, I really like that round from them there.
I think it was great. Double chow through Boulevard to find those shots with the AR. Hits really puts them in a great situation. I'm glad that they didn't just roll into that site. They slowly pushed up. They found their way towards B. And one by one, they were just checking everything off the list to make sure that that site was theirs.
Absolutely. I mean, I think I'm very interested to see what we see from Keiser University this time on defense. Last time through, no pressure towards the A site, already kind of changing that up here. At least Homicidal Chick will be there, but only by herself. So you got to imagine that these players in 6 and 8 need to make this rotation from middle of the map and from gold very quickly to get here to help her out, because she is all by herself and a 3-man hit from UNC coming in.
Egg has the cross, puts some shots down, but it's Percy who's lurking inside of gold, peeks out, and they find 2 with Homicide Chick going down on that site. A is going to get planted. 45 seconds against them. Keiser in a 2v4 for this retake hits through Eskies and missed through the flank. He's deep in this flank. He's all the way in library, so Hits really needs to time this right with his teammate. 27 seconds, so time really against them, and they need to make a move soon if they want time for the defuse. Sweets. Crossfire with Percy. He gets in there. Team kill from D-Taddy, but he gets the find on Hits. There's 11 seconds left. Keiser, no time for the defuse. You got to get through Percy first. He's going to find the kill. And Wilmington, they put themselves up into the lead again off this attacking round, 2-1. And that was just another flawless one. Well executed toward the A side.
And you got to think, if you're Keiser here on your next defense, you need to at least be sending 2 players towards that site. They've hit it twice with 3 players. They've hit it twice very strong. Yes, you get a little bit of map control through the middle of the map there, but it just doesn't work out in your favor when you're leaving Homicide Chick all by herself over towards that A side. She just kind of gets overwhelmed, gets dropped. But, I mean, we've seen 2 very different offenses from both these teams so far and 2 very different defenses. You can see UNC Wilmington not taking that bait from round number 1, going to send another full 3 stack over towards A, but they are going to be very quiet over there and just leaving 1 player in Sweets all by themselves over on Globe. And I mean, very good chance they could end up dropping here, but the bomb has not moved up the site yet.
Oh, Sweets just needs to stay alive, because you're getting that early rotation again from Wilmington. Honestly, if I was Keiser, I would like to see them disengage here. start to find a different avenue into the A site possibly, but Sweets is going to double down now, find Tag. The cross through checkers is there for Miss, but he's going to get caught out in no man's land. Hits turns it into a 2v1. Has the bomb in hand. Player on either side. Alpha's going to take that first contact. Around the back's going to be player number 2, and Wilmington another round under the books. 3-1 here in Moscow as they are starting to heat up.
And the hit there on on offense is just way too slow. You pick it out in the fact that you have only one player over here on a globe and Sweets, and you could easily have overwhelmed him in a 4 versus 1 there. Even if you lose one, you're pretty much guaranteed to get the trade at that point. So you really need to make sure you're making that push out, able to at least find a few kills. Not the case though for Keiser University. I mean, it's starting to become a repetitive theme in this series where it's just the tiny little nuances and these little mistakes that they're making are really starting to not only cost them rounds, but cost them games here, Colin.
Homicide Chick, aggressive through Boulevard, right on this bus. D-Tatty not going to spot it. It's going to be a 2-for-1 right off the rip. Bomb goes down, but numbers to Wilmington. And that nade should give a little bit of information here to Homicide Chick. Alpha's going to swing wide, put some shots on that. Nice escape from Homicide Chick, staying alive now. You got to worry about this cross. You have a teammate to reinforce you. Player number 6, Tag. But in this 2v3, Tag really needs to turn up. Right there, really worried about this checkers push, but oh no. Oh no, Alpha's gonna spot him. He pushes way too far out, expecting that cross through checkers, and Wilmington, they are okay with that because they played so patiently, Jesse, that they're able to convert off of Tag's misplay.
Yeah, and it just really leaves Homicide Chick by themselves in the middle of the map. They need to try to challenge at that point to whatever little information they have to try to find it. And I mean, I honestly love that round from UNC Wilmington off the rip as well. Yes, you get a little bit of a misplay, but also just the way that they picked them apart throughout the middle of that round there, giving themselves the man advantage, able to find constant kills after kills without being traded out is just so huge to search and destroy. We talk about first bloods all the time, but they're not only finding first bloods right now, they're finding first, second, putting Keiser in just terrible spots over and over again. And we're seeing the same defense from UNC Wilmington again here, where they'll send 3 players over towards A, they wait, they don't see anything, now the rotation comes on in, and I'm right there with you. I want to see Keiser take this bomb right now. You dropped it already. Take it and just get out of here with this.
They're gonna run. Homicide Chick able to trade onto Sweets, and a little bit of control from hits as well, finding his way through checkers. If he's not careful, I mean, he might get caught off by player number 2. As Wilmington, they're already making those rotations. D-Tatty, yeah, he's going to find hits. Not even checking it. Percy, more information. Homicide Chick with that bomb inside of gold all alone. 1v3, takes the fight to D-Tatty. Has the backup from Alpha. They're hopping up. They're chasing. The hunt is on. Can you make this interesting? Really down and dirty into these corners. Takes the fight on Alpha, and that is going to be comfortable as ever. Wilmington up 5-1 on Moscow. Again. Something on paper looked close, but Wilmington just looked like a different beast.
Yeah, they absolutely do. And I mean, I'm just wondering from your point of view right now, too. Just kind of looking at that last round there. If you're hits, you know you've got 3 players over at A, but you're just tunnel visioning middle of the map looking towards a globe there. He was just very much so sitting there watching one angle. And again, it just kind of comes down to just like the pure game knowledge and like the ability to really be able to read situations that are happening on the map that can really end up winning you games and lose you games. And Hits being one of the better players on this Keiser team that we saw in that map number 1, you need him to be performing at a top level right now. It just doesn't seem like it's there at the moment for himself.
It really doesn't, and they're looking to put this one away right now. Alpha runs right down the middle, catching good timing to Homicide Chick, but she might be able to get in behind and spoil the fun. Shots early on Percy, gives herself away, so you're going to have to go back to the drawing board and find a different way around this. 2v3, bombs going down. You have A control, but you can work this flank now. If you can get through Sweets, that's going to be a fantastic start. He has the backup next to him. Crossfire set up. Homicide Chick peeks on through. Oh, getting really weak, but sneaking out with 45 HP. 30 seconds left. Hits needs to go big.
See if you can do it. It's all about this flank play here. You're absolutely correct. But with only 22 seconds left and his teammate going down, it's going to make that tough situation so much harder. They're not going to line up in the corner like you saw accuracy get. Oh, actually, maybe they might at the end there, but not going to be the case. And UNC Wilmington, a round that they should close out, they're able to close out in 6-1 victory for themselves here in the Search and Destroy.
Yeah, and I wasn't seeing what I highlighted in the pregame that I needed to change from from the likes of Keiser University. I wanted them to start finding those trades as a team, and you were saying to yourself that they were tunnel visioning a lot into these gunfights, and that was finding the first, second, third blood, whatever Wilmington really wanted to find, because aside from the one round that they lost, it was actually the second round back there when Keiser pulled that attacking round off with a very well executed B hit. Aside from that B hit execution, it was a lot of tunnel visioning right into that globe player, and they just got caught off time and time again from those crossfires that Wilmington were able to set up.
We'll get to see it a lot again here in this replay package that we have right now. Because, I mean, just look at the man advantages in every single round that you see from UNC Wilmington be able to take out. That first round win that Keiser gets, beautiful round win. They played that so well, and it was honestly the best round that we saw from them throughout the entire time. But every other round after that, it just really felt like the man advantage was always to the likes of North Carolina Wilmington. They never, at any point in this game, were really at a man disadvantage in a spot where they were in a tough situation where they needed to find multiple kills and one go. And once you're in spots like that, especially in Search and Destroy with no respawns, it just makes it so hard on the other team to be able to find success. And that's why you saw Keiser's University. They looked very good at the start, and then it just slowly started to peel away and peel away and peel away. And if you're Keiser, you need to go back, you need to watch these tapes, kind of learn from them for yourselves. Because another thing that me and you keep talking about, and it's so true, this is just the start to this school year, right? Like, yes, this is the NACE Starleague, but there's a lot of collegiate leagues. There's going to be a lot more time for them to have practice. So if they can take this, they can learn from this and take this into the Vanguard year with you. But it just really comes down to just learning those fundamentals, which just don't seem to be fully there right now.
You have Vanguard right around the corner. I mean, with that on the bridge, this is where you can really kind of test the waters and iron things out before you get kind of into the nitty gritty. That is Vanguard. When that changes over, it's going to be another story. But you have a lot to prove right now in Cold War still as we're into this week 4. Keiser backed into a corner. I think that second round was great. They found sweets there, but you just saw that Wilmington were able to flex their brains a little bit more, and Keiser was still stuck on doing the same thing on every single attack, and they never tried to do something different, and Wilmington realized that. So heading into this map number 3, it's going to be back to control, Jesse. And when you're moving into this control, it's just a different kind of ballpark from either side. It's another objective mode. We said that map number 2 is where we need to see Keiser find that map win to kind of beat out Wilmington, take the 2s and the 5s and worry about that third map when you get there as that swing map. Well, it's time for the reverse sweep. You don't get that map number 2 win. It's do or die in the series against University of North Carolina Wilmington. And I think Keiser, this is a great chance for you to really bring your best against Wilmington, because we're going to have a substitute for the University of North Carolina Wilmington. It's Sweets is going to be out for this map number 3, and they're putting in Flem Deasy.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, to really think about that. Not sure if it's a tactical decision to maybe bring him in, considering how well Sweets has looked today. He's looked like one of UNC Wilmington's best top players right now. And we're also not sure if this is just for this map or for the rest of the series. And if it's just for this map, it's really something that we haven't really seen too much in Call of Duty yet, but something that we might see more into the future, where a team decides, hey, you know what, let's take this player out. This isn't one of their best modes. Let's bring in a control specialist who knows this mode so well, can make the right shot calls. And I mean, I'm excited to see it. Maybe this might be one of those situations where we get to see one of those mid-map or mid-series substitutions that can really make a difference. And honestly, it's something I would love to see go further in towards Call of Duty as well. Yes, this is one of the first times we're seeing it happen, but you got to think, like, if you can see teams start to maybe pick out, hey, you know what? This could be our Search and Destroy roster. This is going to be our respawn roster, and just have these two teams consistently trying to practice those modes and master those modes individually. I mean, I'm here for it. I'm always here for the strategy.
Oh, I am here for it as well. I mean, it's a conversation in esports that really has been very prominent most recently, I'd say, in CSGO, when we've seen a lot of teams really bring in a 6th player to their roster. I think Astralis was the first one to do it. I know our Team Vitality did it at one point, and in doing so, they just had a player that can really iron out certain maps in that game and really figure out how to just best fit into the team for that. So let's see if Flem is going to be that player for Wilmington, that new player to kind of move in, the control specialist like you're seeing. Control is going to be a big game for Keiser, but I think it's going to be a big statement to see if Wilmington, how they're going to work with Phlegm onto that. So Jesse, let's hop into this map number 3 and let's see exactly what we're going to get out of either of these two squads inside Control.
I'm very excited to see this Control map play out, especially on Raid as well. Raid is always such a good Control map for itself. It's one of those maps where if you are able to really kind of take control of the map and take control of the middle of it, you can kind of bounce between whatever site you want to go to. So I think if Keiser can come out and play fundamentally a lot stronger than what we've seen in the first two maps, I don't see why they can't take this map off of UNC Wilmington. It's just really going to matter on whether the fundamentals are there or not. And if you do end up bouncing out and kind of losing out on one site, just make sure you're always having those reps. Be ready to on defense, be ready to be playing tag between the two different points, because you know it's going to be there. You've seen this map enough throughout the year. I feel like this is probably the most played Control map that we've seen all year, and it's the most balanced map as well between offense and defense. So if we can see Keiser come out and play fundamentally, I don't see why they can't take this.
I don't see why not either. I mean, Raid, it's just the best of both worlds when you're talking about Control. You get the A site, you get the B site, and both of them as even as ever, you'd say. I mean, even if you go to that B site, if you get knocked off that, where do you spawn? If nobody's going to be sitting over towards the ring, you're going to be spawning right on that A site. So there's plenty of strategies to be had inside Control for Raid. And like you said, it's the most played map that we do usually see. It's the most comfortable map for a lot of these squads. I mean, Raid, it's just a given. I'd say it's the best map in Cold War when you talk about these DLCs right now. And I just can't wait. I'm surprised that it's the first Raid that we're seeing of the night.
Honestly, that's a great point. I'm honestly surprised too, but I think that's one thing that we talk about. Yes, it's your most comfortable map, but you also don't want your opposing teams to also be comfortable on Raid a lot of the time. So that's something that me and you talk about all the time. But I mean, I'm here for it. I absolutely love watching Raid, especially Raid Control. It's such an exciting game mode, such an exciting map to watch this game mode on because of both sides being as even as they are.
And I mean, University of North Carolina Wilmington against Full Sail, it went the distance. If you don't remember against Full Sail, this was, well, it was Garrison instead of Raid, but it was the map that was all attacking rounds in Control. That was just back to back to back attacking rounds, and that got crazy. And if Wilmington, if they haven't really ironed out those defenses, I think Keiser can really show a good strength here on Raid for those attacking rounds, considering that Raid is equal on both defense and attack, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And you got to think, like you said, if they're able to kind of iron out where they need to be in every round, I mean, it really comes down to on Control on Raid, especially on defense. If we're talking in particular, I think like the best spot for a lot of these teams to like really focus on is if you give up a lot of pressure on that A site right off the bat, just give it up. You want to be protecting B. I feel like it's the easier site to protect on defense out of both sides, because you can get a player top bedroom, you can get a player inside of money, where you're really holding down the two biggest pinch points for those teams to really be able to connect on in and get into that site. So if Keiser can break down, just give up A, honestly. Like if you absolutely need to, give up that A site. You don't need to. I would rather see teams give up A than give up B off the start, because if you give up B off the start, I feel like A is just so much easier to break on in. So I think that's going to be a big thing for Keiser in this match, is just kind of focus on the little things. Keep B, hold it strong. I wouldn't focus so much on holding that A site.
Oh, exactly. I think B is going to be a big case to both sides. Folks, if you're just tuning in, this is the NACE Starleague Week 4 of Call of Duty. We got University of North Carolina Wilmington against Keiser. Map 1 was checkmate. It was a 250-32 in favor of the University of North Carolina. Map 2 was Moscow Search and Destroy. We have 6-1 that we were traded to from University of North Carolina. They've been in full control the whole way through, but this is where things really kind of gonna get decided, I'd say, in the Control, because University of North Carolina, they're bringing in a Phlegm, and then they're bringing in Phlegm, not a Phlegm, as their as their fourth player inside Control. A substitute is gonna be the difference maker for Wilmington, but I can't see it being too much of a difference maker, because Keiser have been a lot of steps behind in the rest of the series. If you missed it earlier as well, we had the map number 1 between Utica College and the Bryant and Stratton College, which was a blowout and a half. It was 250-0 Apocalypse Hardpoint. We went to the Search. It was a 6-0. We went to the Control. It was the trifecta of perfection. All 3-0 on Control. So we're going to throw it to a break while we get ready for this lobby to get situated, because things are a little bit tough right now getting into this raid control. And when we come back, we will have that map number 3 just for you. And welcome back. Apologize for the short little break. A little bit of lobby issues for this. You know how the deal is with Call of Duty. If you're at least a long-lasting fan of this series, things happen. We're back into it now. Teams are getting ready for this raid control. Map number 1 in this series, like we said, just a little bit of a recap. 250 to 32 for North Carolina, Wilmington. Inside checkmate. Map 2, 6-1 on Moscow for Wilmington as well. Map 3 on raid, you got a substitute coming in for Wilmington. And that's really the make or break for me. Is this substitute a specialist, or is it actually needed to have a substitute in if somebody just can't be here for the rest of the series? It's going to be a big tell right now, Jesse.
Yeah, it's a great question, too, because when you're looking at UNC Wilmington, especially, Sweets has been one of their best players all day, and you're subbing him out. And I know we were kind of talking about it earlier. It could be tactile or tactical to kind of do a substitution here. But you got to imagine this is probably a substitution for the rest of the series. I wouldn't imagine they're subbing Sweets out with how good he's been playing all day. And so if you're Keiser University now, you're looking at this like, hey, we've got a sub playing as well. This is probably our best chance to now take some maps off of this UNC Wilmington team. You get a couple of players down. Now they can try to maybe fight their way back and take advantage of a substitution coming in here. And I mean, if that's the case, you never know. This team, UNC Wilmington, they might not have as strong of a connection, as strong of a practice with this other player coming in Flem. So maybe Keiser University, this is their chance to, grasp the series and bring it right back.
No, yeah, you never know. And I think you're right. I think Sweets was probably one of their best players that they had. So I can't see this being a specialty swap out. Just for control, you have to imagine it's for the rest of the season, rest of the series at least. And this is where you really kind of iron out the playing fields and things level out between the two teams. And inside this control, when you have that substitute versus a substitute, I think Homicidal Chick was having some really good situations over on Moscow Search and Destroy. And I think that if she can keep it up here in the control, and she's just been getting better and better across the series, I think if she can get more comfortable here inside the Hollywood Hills of Raid 4 control, I think this would be a really telling game for Keiser University and their substitute.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're not wrong at all. She did look a lot better in that map number 2. I think if she could not be put into situations where she's in 1v3s and 1v4s like we were seeing in that map number 2 as well, that's where you might be able to see her start to really shine a little bit here in this map number 3. So, I mean, I'm excited. I'm here for it. I'm ready just to see this map number 3 load on up into Raid.
I think we all are at this point. So as we load in to control, excited to see who starts on attack and who starts on defense. In my eyes, it doesn't really matter for Raid, but I just love to see who starts on what. Wilmington, they struggled on defenses last week. I'm looking for them to patch it up this time around. Let's hop to the Hollywood Hills. Let's see control. Map number 3 is finally going to be underway, folks, and it's going to be quite the ride as we get into it eventually.
Are we getting faked out again? Game, don't you do this to us again.
The game's being a little bit troublesome right now. We're hoping to get into Raid, and yeah, it just seems like we're having we're struggling to get into the lobby or into the map as well. Just long loading screens.
I mean, you know what? Honestly, if COD kids, if you guys are here watching this, you guys know what's going on. This is absolutely Call of Duty at its finest right now, where you know what? Sometimes things happen, mishaps happen. It's just we don't always get into the games as fast as we would like to here, but you know, hopefully we'll get into this one eventually as we continue to load on throughout this game. I mean, Colin, just kind of looking at this division itself as well, with UNC Wilmington being up at the top at 3-0. The other team in 3-0 right now is that University of Central Florida team. Both teams 9-1 in map count. I mean, I'm not sure what week these two teams play. Obviously, we haven't gotten a full chance to look over it yet, but I'm excited to see that matchup too between those two teams. I think it'll be a really good match.
I am ecstatic. We saw a little bit of University of Central Florida this weekend in a college tournament, and they looked amazing over there. I'm pretty sure that's Kyle the Brazilian's team as well. So that's a good one that I'm excited to see at this one. And even our match number 3 for the night is going to be another Southeastern matchup, so we get to see how they affect the standings. Plenty of effects coming through for the Southeast standings on stream today. So we're going to get into Raid one time. For that, another break, and when we come back, we will have, hopefully, that map 3 just for you guys. Hey guys, I'm afraid I got some bad news for you because we have not gone into this game of Raid, and we have, in doing so, told the teams that they're going to be playing this match off stream now if they are able to get into the lobby, and we are going to move on with our match number 3 in the meantime, which is going to be Tennessee Wesleyan against Midway University. So when we come back from the next couple of breaks, we're going to get these teams readied up into the lobby. The past game, match number 2, is going to be played off stream. You can check out NACE Starleague's website if you want to catch how it ends off. But we're going to cut to a break, and when we come back, Tennessee Wesleyan against Midway University. Stay tuned for some more NACE Starleague. And welcome back everybody to the NACE Starleague Week 4 of Call of Duty. Once again, a big apology for our match number 2 and the way it ended. We really wanted to see that raid control come into fruition, see these teams battle it out, and see if the reverse sweep was actually there, but lobby issues, it led us to move on now to our match number 3, which is going to be Tennessee Wesleyan and Midway College. And this head-to-head, man, this is going to be interesting because, again, it's a situation where you're looking at two teams that are Tennessee Wesleyan 0-3, bottom of their standings, and Midway University 2-1, closer to the top. It's going to be a tough one for Tennessee Wesleyan, but I mean, two new teams to collegiate Call of Duty. I'm excited to see what they can do. And
honestly, this is a really big matchup for Midway University as well. When you're really like fully looking at this for themselves right here, at 2-1 right now and 6-4 map count. It's not the best. It's not the worst. They're very middle of the pack right now. But there are 4 teams right now sitting at 2-1. Folsom Armada being another one of those teams. University of Tennessee and Knoxville being another one. It really comes down to, guys, we need to pick this up so that we can kind of make sure we're still fighting for one of those top 3 spots and a chance at that play-in for the playoffs here. So, I mean, a very big matchup for themselves here. They want to stay in that 3-1 record, and they have a pretty good chance to do it right here against this Tennessee Wesleyan team. But, I mean, you know what? It's Call of Duty, and at the end of the day, none of these teams are ever fully out of it. Let's take a look at our map set here for the match. And, I mean, starting off with a Garrison hardpoint, I think it's going to be... I mean, we haven't seen Garrison hardpoint too often, but it's you say it all the time, Colin. It's one of those maps where it's just a SMG heaven.
It's an SMG playground. And obviously, playgrounds are a lot safer than a tank depot, but in Garrison, you're looking at the submachine guns to really heat up. Map number 2, Express. It's going back to those old days of Call of Duty from Black Ops 2, and Express coming back has just opened up a really good map 2 or map 5 to have. Express you usually see as that closing search and destroy, but it's going to be Moscow in the later games. And the fact that we have 2 garrisons in the hardpoint and the control that we get in the early games, Cruz, I think that this is going to be a testament to whose submachine gun is going to be the better submachine gun. Is it going to be Midway University or is it going to be Tennessee Wesleyan? Because Express, it adds in to the picture that the SMG needs to be heating up.
I mean, even looking towards the later half of it as well, we have Raid and Moscow as the last 2, right? And I mean, Moscow very much so can still be another map where SMGs rain tear on the map, and even more so Raid. Raid is one of those maps where it's absolutely crazy what can be done inside of those maps.
Dog cam.
Yeah, I don't know how she just got in here, but very unfortunate times.
It's not unfortunate. What do you mean? That's like the least unfortunate thing you could have, Jesse. She just wants to be a part of the broadcast.
She absolutely does, yeah.
Everybody's welcome here. But I mean, you're right. I mean, we're not really gonna see an AR have a big impact. I mean, Express, you can have a big AR game, but in that Moscow, I think, is the biggest one. And that's not until map 5 if we have it. So Garrison, we're going to head over to Germany to see this tank depot. And it's definitely not a playground. It's where these two teams are going to be battling for the icebreaker. Tennessee Wesleyan are going to be in the hardpoint for now, looking to break in as E-Man. But a big shutdown for 2. And Syndria is going to hop on in for a short amount of time. Midway doing a good job at negating anything that Tennessee can bring in.
And yeah, Midway, they're in a great spot right now. They're putting a lot of pressure towards this left-hand side of the map, trying to flip these spawns out. And those 3 kills, absolutely wonderful. They flip the spawns out completely for themselves here. So now not only are they getting majority of time on P1, but they've got the control. They now have the spatial awareness. They can put all the pressure on towards that second hill as well. I mean, I don't think you could ask for a better start here from Midway.
Nazi locking down green. This is going to be a good cut right now for Ruthless. If he can find E-Man here, it'd be a big opening, but no, it's going to be Midway again in full force here. As D-Nazi shuts down King. You're looking at the collapse through green, but they're struggling to get right on through Cruz. Syndria is going to hop in after finding D-Nazi, but it's just another one to take their place, and you still have 30 seconds here. Midway can really blow this game open. If you're Tennessee, you have to be careful because you don't want to flip these spawns.
No, absolutely. And I think if you're Tennessee at this point, you just need to chalk this. I don't know why player number 2 is still pushing forward, maybe just trying to put a little bit of contention into this hill. But I think they're all pushing a little bit too far forward right now. They need to be very careful, because if Midway decides to put the pressure on front, they can absolutely flip these spawns out and have Tennessee Wesleyan spawning on that left-hand side of the map. And it's exactly what happens. One player will spawn out. They now have a 3v2 going towards this next hill. Beautiful play from Midway, but you got to just think even more so than that being a good play. That was just a very big misplay from the likes of Tennessee Wesleyan.
And if you're Midway, you need to convert with this. Now, Ruthless lines up too. Can you find the third in the back when it's D-Nazi who's making sure that you're just keeping your head low, keeping away from it? You get some spawns in the back there, so it's going to be bloodbath here with User and Keeves in the back line. The collapse is there to go down. Syndria now trying to play a little bit of peekaboo with the E-Man. You're going to get into it, find a kill. Second one right around the corner, but Syndria struggling to stay alive. Audit's going to clean them up around this one. And Midway, again, crossing triple digits. Jesse, this is where Tennessee, they need to decide. Are they going to hit this? Are they going to give it up? Ruthless goes for one last chance, finds User with the instant trade. It's going to keep Midway in control.
This is a big spot right now for Wesleyan. They absolutely need to just find a way to get a couple of these teams and to get a couple of these players on their transitions out through dark, not allow them to have that easy transition, and keep them spawning in this back right-hand side of the mini-map so that they can get a good amount of time here on this P4 hill, because you don't want to just allow them to continue to just run over you through this. And Riot losing that gunfight is going to open up all of dark. Everybody on Midway now, they could try to hop out, push through the middle of the map now, and this could really end up spelling disastrous for Tennessee Wesleyan.
Ruthless gets cut from the side, man. E-Man, 3 go down for Tennessee. You're going to hop into this hill immediately. Only giving up limited time. King to hop into this one. Has the Krieg in hand. Not able to drop on down just yet. So you're going to get that kill. You're going to walk on for a different point of contact. And Audit makes the overextension, wraps around after fighting one in behind, takes down Riot. The collapse in from Midway. It's going to be electric. It's going to be exciting. And a big play from Audit's going to lead them back into this hill. Ruthless is going to try to make a play back into it, but he's only able to do a little bit of damage. Another flip of these spawns, and Tennessee going to be in late to the rotation again.
Hey, that's the best we've seen Tennessee look here so far. Pretty much splitting time on that hill with this Midway team, but I believe that was D-Nazi able to find streaks for himself. He's got full streaks on a 5 streak for himself here. So, I mean, I'm wondering to see if we're going to see those streaks come on in once again. But Tennessee Wesleyan with those spawn outs, they actually have a chance to step a little bit of a pinch here onto the hill. But Midway University, once again, they just read it so perfectly and are able to just completely turn it onto its tide and start to run away with the knowing where their spawns are and just able to pick up more and more time here.
You see Midway setting up the spawn trap. Riot's gonna get a big double kill now. Leads Syndria into it for the contestation. E-Man sitting around the corner. Here comes the cruise facility. I didn't even hear that. Petit Nazi raining fire down from the skies as they find 3 to keep them in control of this, looking to cost the 200-point marker with the last couple of seconds into the scrap time. You're going to have the rotation back to the early hills, and Tennessee Wesleyan, they need a big break, but they're not able to find it. The artillery strike's going to take down 3, and they're going to go right back into the tank spawns.
I mean, Midway's in a perfect chance. A perfect opportunity to be able to win this game out on this hill right now. They still have all the players on the likes of Tennessee Wesleyan spawning out on that left-hand side. They read it perfect. They drop the players down. And this is his second streak where he's gone super big as well, because his first streak, he already has full streaks. He's doubled down on the streaks. D-Nazi has taken over here in this game. And I mean, you got to think that it's a matter of when, if not if, Midway University is going to be able to close this one out.
A Ruthless hopping in for the possession on it, able to reap him from the backside. D-Nazi dies on a 13 spree, but he's 32-7. There's not a lot more you can ask from him. Riot, he's going to get one last goodbye. But Midway University, 250-38. Another blowout hardpoint here today on the NACE Starleague. It just keeps on falling into our laps, and you have to think about this. I mean, the way that Midway were playing that, they had all control that they could ask for. From start to finish, they were getting the spawns, they were flipping out their opponent, and they were making sure that they maintained the lead the whole way through.
Colin, I'm gonna cry in a second, man. I need to see a hard point where we're seeing a second team get over 50 points. It needs to happen at some point today. Hopefully in our next series, because I mean we haven't gotten there yet, but we know what's coming up in that one. But
You could get to map 4.
We could get to map 4. You're not wrong. I'm sorry. That sounds very bad of me to speak like that. It's been a rough day though for teams who have lost hard points like that. Let's be honest here. It absolutely has been a rough day for any team who has lost a hard point in that fashion so far here today. I think the big thing though, looking back at that from like an analytical point of view from that, is Tennessee Wesleyan. You got to think where they lost that game at. The two hills that you can absolutely get the most amount of time on this game is hills 2 and 3. They get the full 60, they lose it on hill 2. And instead of just pushing back with 15 seconds left to go into hill number 3, they send a full 4-man hit through middle of the map with 15 seconds to go to try to break back into hill number 2 again. And that's where it really comes down to, you're looking at the fundamentals of these teams, and that should never be a spot. Like, it's a misplay, yes, but it's a misplay that you should not be making at this point of the year.
Oh, no. That should be well ironed out for players. And I know you can have the, I don't want to say excuse, because it's a very good thing to kind of talk about, is that these teams might not have practice together, but you're in the later end of the year. On an individual standpoint, as a Call of Duty player in Cold War, I feel like these things should just be a given. That you don't want to flood into that hill number 2 at the later ends, because you need that hill 3 to bring this one back, as it's a place where you can transition for a full 60. But a lot of mistakes that I'm seeing from these teams, Jesse, into these hills and in hardpoint in general, is that I'm not seeing team play to break a hill. I'm seeing one after the other just solo hits into it, and Ruthless was constantly breaking into the hill. You saw Riot was finding double kills, but they weren't able to do it as a team. It was just at different times of the game, I was just seeing individual players of Tennessee pop off, and they were never doing it at the same time.
Yeah, I think a big thing too for this Tennessee Wesleyan team, like you're hinting at with the fact that they were kind of struggling to make team pushes together. I think a big thing with that is they need to just kind of trust off of each other to find a couple of these kills, because it looked like a lot of times where multiple players were watching the same thing at the same time as well when they were inside of a hill early and able to try to get a little bit of a setup. So I think they need to maybe trust in their teammates to find these kills, because clearly they have the gun skill and they have the potential. It's just, again, the fundamentals, it really is what it comes down to in Call of Duty. And if you don't have them, man, it's where a team like Midway, who clearly does have quite a bit of the fundamentals here, can really take advantage of that and kind of start to build off of it and run over in a series.
Map number 2, we have Garrett or Express Search and Destroy coming up. And this is where you can slow things down. We talk about it a lot. Oftentimes that Search and Destroy is a very different ballpark than Hardpoint, as there's no respawns. It is going to be just 4-on-4 each round, 1st to 6. If I was Tennessee Wesleyan, I would be making sure that, since Express is one of those maps where you can really hit sites as a team, you're just keeping that team play up and making sure you're finding those trades.
Yeah, and you're not wrong. That's really what it is going to come down to. It just kind of, they need to play together more. And when you're playing together, especially on Express Search Destroy, this is a map where we're going to see a lot of teams, at least in the higher up competitive styles, and your challengers and your CDL. What happens a lot, and we talk about this all the time off stream, but it's a 4-man hit. You want to see constant 4-man hits with your team. And I think if we're seeing these teams come out here, and especially Tennessee Wesleyan, if we see them come out and we see them playing a lot of individual gunfights here, I think that Midway University will be able to pick that apart again in this map, because this is a map where if you are not playing as a team, it's very, very tough to find round wins, let alone a map win.
Well, I mean, from what I'm seeing from this team on Midway University, is they don't want to be midway in the standings. They're looking to find themselves at the top. You say it, we're in week 4. We've been talking about it. It's the talk of the town right now in week number 4, is that this is where a lot of placings are going to become solidified. Are you going to start falling down? Are you start rising to the top? And this is a chance, like you say, for Midway to start rising to the top. So an Express, right off the bat, if you're talking about it in the point of view from Midwest, to keep stumbling on over from this hard point, what do you want to see from them?
So from Midway, like going in, I'm sorry, I kind of, what do I want to see from Midway going into this?
Yes.
Okay. I think honestly, just kind of keeping up with what they were doing in that map number 1. It was a lot of really good rotations, obviously, but also when they were rotating and set up, like we saw on P2 and P3, they were fully set up. They had great holds. And so I think that's a strong spot in their game where they can really turn that from a hard point perspective into a search and destroy perspective. If they can get free bomb sites, if they can get free plants and get good setups, I think that's where we're really going to see them come away with this game win. So if they can continue to do things like that, playing off of each other the way that they were in map number 1, I don't see why we're not going to see them take this map.
I think you are very right in that situation. So in Tennessee, we talked about it. You want to see the trades come through. You want to see them start hitting the as-4 on these sites, especially on defense. And in defense, you really have that availability to maybe throw a player up inside the overpass, send a couple over inside the train station, and by the time that you might be missing the players to rotate over to the A site, I think that you will know that you'll make those rotations late in the game, set up for the collapse, have a flank player ready. And if you see Tennessee start bringing out those fundamentals, start catching up to Midway in the strategy, you could see Tennessee make it a close one. But Midway, definitely, they just need to keep playing what they're doing. As a team, they're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Absolutely. And I mean, and if Tennessee is able to take this game, like we were kind of talking about earlier on, and looking at the rest of the series and kind of how far down, or like what comes in the later half of this, we see a raid hardpoint as the fourth map, right? So if they can at least get to that raid hardpoint, I think that's where we might actually even be able to see Tennessee Wesleyan kind of battle a little bit better in a map. It is another map where you do have a lot more SMG presence in it, yes, but it's another map where your ARs can be a lot more effective than in a garrison hardpoint, especially because it's one of those maps where you get the long range lines of sights. So I think this map is so important. If they can take this, I don't see why they can't take that map number 4, and then eventually, if they take this search and destroy, why not take another one? I don't see why they can't take this.
I don't see why not. I mean, everybody can do anything really in COD. It's just you got to show up, you got to play. So why don't we hop on a train, head to Express, get this map number 2 underway, and see exactly what Search and Destroy has in store for us. Tennessee Wesleyan, they're going to be on attack. Midway on defense. The bomb's going to be rotating deep into the pit. It's going to be 2-on-3. Player 1
it's all by
really
himself.
close. King is actually, that's terrible play. Syndra needs to be there for the trade.
Literally push onto a site completely alone. I don't know if that's a misplay from the first player or from the last player in that situation, but nobody goes with the bomb carrier. Now the bomb's down in a terrible spot. You're in a 1 versus 4 if you're Syndra here, and it's just an easy pickup there for Midway. I don't know what I just saw there, Colin, and if that's what we're gonna get from this Search and Destroy game, then I might be biting my words going into this one.
That is just not how I wanted to see him started off. King had the right idea. You gotta close the distance, and you close it fast, but there's nobody there for the trade. Something I wanted to see change through this team. So Wesleyan, they're gonna be dropping the first round, and they're set up for defense. They're reading this well. They're actually gonna throw all 4 players towards this A site. Nazi's gonna open up with the first early trade from Ruthless. You have control of TV room. Up top, Nazi, can you do it again? No, it's going to be a 1-for-1 now. Nazi again finding that nade kill. Audit to clean up the rest. So it's a 1v2 now for Riot, who snuck his way in behind, and he's yet to be seen.
Riot might be able to find the timing on the first. Oh, but he takes too long. He just needs to find one and get away with his life there. He would have known bomb was down, would have had a great chance to really be able to close that round in, but unfortunately for him at the end of that round, it just was not enough. And you got to think that this 2-piece off the start of the round is really what opens things up here. Claps not running flak jacket, not able to get away with that, because we see players quite often be able to eat 1, if not 2 nades sometimes while having flak jacket on. So he must not have been wearing it in that situation. And I mean, I don't know even what you would be running instead of flak jacket at that point, but maybe he was really tagged up and weak as well. But it's just a kind of tough spot to be able to get dropped that easily in that opening of the round. This time, though, looks like we're seeing a little bit more of a team call coming in from the likes of Tennessee Wesleyan, going to take this bomb over towards the A site. But unfortunately, they drop one so quickly and right off the start of that round.
That's 3 first bloods in 3 rounds for Midway, and you can see that they're taking a lot of control out of it. As you have Syndra with this bomb slowly rotating over to A, but once again, very disconnected from the rest of the team. They're very patient and staying into the back left corner. Audit still sneaking into that, so nobody going to be watching their back, even though they were taking so long to rotate over to Syndra, and that could be what cost them. So Audit, now knowing that he has that control, is going to be pushing even farther on through and providing all that information that they have. Ruthless finally getting out strikes onto Nazi. That should be bombed down for Syndra. King needs to go big. So bomb, actually, E-Man hops up top. He's going to find that early trade, though, immediately from E-Man, or from King. 2v2. Audit doesn't see the drop. User runs away. He's going to find that in there. Now they should know. Audit, last alive, inside this locker room. He's going to slide on through. Ruthless, he's not watching it. It cost him. He knows where he is. Bomb's going to get dropped. Audit needs to go big. He's going to peek on through. Long way around. King reads it. Audit wins the one-on-one.
Oh, and getting away there is so huge, too. He's able to at least get the one. He's going to force a 1v1 here. Now all Ruthless really needs to do is just keep watching a couple different angles.
Audit's been slippery.
This could all come down to timing.
It's been 30 seconds. The timing indeed. Ruthless peeks out, winning a crucial gunfight for Tennessee Wesleyan. 1-2. They put their first round on the board. And that was a tough one. Audit was snaking around the whole map.
I will say, I still wasn't that big on the way that we saw Tennessee Wesleyan play that round. King throughout that round, there was 2 players over at A. He was by himself, completely just clearing out that site, and I don't fully understand it. But fortunately, after clearing out B and all that side of the map, he makes the play through their top sky bridge and is able to get one, and then finding the second makes that round completely winnable for themselves, gives them a 2 versus 1 situation. Probably the first time we've seen them with a man advantage here for them to be able to pick up a round win.
Well, Audit not going to tie the nade. King going to clean him up. Doesn't realize there's someone behind him, though. So taking a little bit too much out of that gunfight. And that's going to leave Riot all alone. He's going to drop down. Midway's going to find the round very fast. They put 3 on the board.
They weren't happy about losing that round before, I don't think.
How
With how fast they answered in this round here for themselves. Midway looking really good.
You need to have somebody in that overpass watching D-Nazi there. I mean, Riot should have been putting shots on that. That's a big misplay again.
Well, I think the scary thing though right now for Tennessee is every round that they seem to put somebody in that top sky bridge, they're just get dropped immediately watching the overpass. We saw that in their last offensive round where somebody just dropped immediately, and it was the player that went up top. So maybe it's a little hard to play with confidence in those situations and play in those spots when you're just getting dropped very easily through.
Well, that's going to be another first blood. E-Man this time onto Riot. Right through those train tracks. Syndria looking to sneak through the lockers. Bomb in hand. He's going to walk right into User. That's bomb down and 1 alive. King 1v4. Submachine gun player all the way back into that sky bridge. He's going to be receiving those shots. That's going to call for Audit to clean him up through that. Get a little bit awkward, though. King gives him the work. E-Man around the corner. Diamati in hand, and he's not going to let it slip away this time. Midway puts them to 4. And they are starting to escalate their lead.
Well, I mean, last time we saw Midway take 2 rounds in a row is Tennessee answering back with 1 for themselves. So we'll see if they can't do it on defense here. But yeah, man, it's just, E-Man's in this spot too, because he just gets the first blood, and then you peek the exact same angle and get dropped the exact same way. And it's all individual challenges too from these Tennessee players. They just don't seem to really know where these players are fully set up, and they're not ready once those players are there. We'll just have to see as this game continues to progress on. But a 4-man hit from Midway University.
Oh, Syndria. The Craig isn't good enough. You can get away with 1, maybe 2. No, Audit's going to shut it down. But at least you get away with the 1. Now you can call for the rotations. Riot very close is able to find User up top. And that's going to be a 3-on-2. Bomb goes down, but you have the numbers advantage and information to the player Audit inside that ticket booth. So now is where the class can start coming out. With the likes of Tennessee Wesleyan. You know Audit's here. Throw some shots down on 4 HP. Ruthless cleans him up. D-Nazi alone, 1v3. He's got the time to work with. And he's got the gun of choice, the Craig in hand, but there's the defuse gonna come through. D-Nazi now 1v1. King's gonna stick it, but the check is gonna be there for Midway. And a big clutch from D-Nazi, a 3v1, putting Midway on map point.
I don't know why King doesn't reach out this with his team here. He can see you getting on the bomb, King. You were just standing up and now you're laying down. That's so tough. You got to think if he makes that challenge, maybe he can win that gunfight. Just jumping out, playing the advantage of the trash can heady there. But unfortunately, King, he dies on the sword that he chooses, and he just sits there and he tries to defuse the bomb.
When you're looking at Tennessee Wesleyan on that site, it started so good.
They should have won that round easily.
But when D-Nazi was alone, they were just running like chickens with their head cut off. Like, oh, we won this round. It's ours now. But no, D-Nazi, he's got the gunny. He's hopping up, but Riot's able to shut him down for first blood. Instant trade from Audit. That's actually going to be bomb inside lockers. Audit peeks out for more, and seconds, it's going to be had. Oh, Ruthless. He did a spot E-man. King's going to pay for it. Now, Ruthless goes back, realizes his mistake, but it's all too late. Midway, 6-1 in the search and destroy. They just collapse, and they destroy Tennessee Wesleyan.
You gotta think that game could have been a little bit closer, too, if Tennessee was able to win a few of those rounds. But there were just some rounds there that they absolutely should not have been losing. A 3v1, come on, guys. It's just not a round you can really throw away there, especially when you're going up against Midway University. Any little thing that you can do against these guys to be able to win a round, you need to make sure you're closing it out. Any little advantage you get, you need to close out, because we say it all the time in esports, and I'm sorry to keep hatching at the same things here, but you give a team as good as Midway University is an inch, they're going to take a mile.
You have to think, too. I mean, it's not like King was pressured to hop on that defuse. He had a lot of time to fully fly, check train station, and none of them fully committed to clearing that site properly. And that's where DNAZI was really able to just swing and find a nice double kill. We're going to get another look at it very, very shortly, but in the meantime, we are just looking at this highlight reel of First Bloods that we are constantly getting out of here. And again, DNAZI back here. Nobody even pushed this. Nobody tried to check it. They were just running around and around that ticket booth until DNAZI peeks on out. And by the time they do, they're just in such bad positions to take that gunfight. It's a huge misplay.
I think watching that back, though, just to kind of play a little bit devil's advocate here, he was already so close to the defuse that he was just kind of like, hey, you know what? I might as well just stick it at this point. Maybe he doesn't challenge me right away. He was probably just hoping that he wasn't going to go for the instant chow there. And if he doesn't, he wins that round, right? So,
yeah.
I mean, yes, a misplay, but he doesn't have the full advantage of what we have in knowing the exact situation as well, right? So we can't fully take complete blame on him in that situation. His teammates also shouldn't have been running out in that spot. They should have kind of just play shoulders.
Bunker down.
Well, if he's hopping the bomb, and I'm sure he made the call like, I'm hopping bomb, they should have maybe just thrown a couple shoulders, tried to play their lives there, not allowed him to really make that challenge. So I wouldn't just completely blame that on King, but definitely a misplay from the team overall.
Overall, 2-0 now, Midway University going into this control with a lot of confidence. And through that, as something we were talking about, were the trades from Tennessee Wesleyan, they were lacking out of positioning into that search and destroy. And you saw constantly inside the attacks out of Midway University, DNAZI in general, he was just walking on top of that train uncontested by that sky bridge. So inside, we were going back to Garrison, and after that map number 1 was such a strong map from Midway University, you're back into a respawn, and this is exactly where Midway could just throw them in the blender again.
Yeah, and we saw it in map number 1. This is really where Midway like kind of took over, right? So I think the thing that worries me most about this is we saw Midway in that back spawn in the trap in hardpoint, and they were able to get out of it once, but it was like the way that they got out of it was very, very dominant. But we really didn't see much from Tennessee in a way of when they got put into a bad spot and they got put into the blender, they weren't really able to break out of it too much. And control is another one of those spots where you are always spawning in the same area. You absolutely have a chance to be put right into the blender. You're going to have such a hard time to get out of some of these spots if you don't have good breakoffs. So I think when you look overall like into this map mode combo and your Tennessee, breakoffs are going to be everything, and taking those breakoffs and having a good amount of progress from them going in towards the rest of it, they absolutely need it. Otherwise, I do think that Midway are probably going to take this.
They absolutely need the world to come back inside this garrison. We're going to head back to the map 1 that we did saw. And as a reminder, Midway, they took it very convincingly, 250-38 inside that garrison hardpoint. So control, do or die for Tennessee Wesleyan. Can they do the reverse sweep? Can they give us a map 4 that we haven't seen just yet? Everything's going to be answered inside this map number 3. And again, the submachine guns, they are going to be running wild. Let's take a look at it. Garrison control is going to be underway and already into this action. DNAZI, he's able to find 2 off this breakoff. The attackers getting such a good spread. Ruthless is still in this.
DNAZI is getting aggressive too.
He gets a whole tick there.
They had 2 on it, I think, at one time. So second tick of progress will come in as well. So, I mean, definitely not a bad spot, but DNAZI on 5 in a row. He's just trying to play for his streaks right now.
6, 7, maybe? Nope. Not just yet. Audit, instead, he's going to be taking these gunfights right there, trying to flood them right into his teammate. Deanazi's going to go down, so no streaks are going to be there, but his teammates to clean up the rest. 48 seconds left. And Tennessee need to break out finally. Syndria is going to have that one. Audit's going to go down. Nice transition to the second. Going to hop up. Player around the corner. It's User. Head-to-head there. He's going to take it with that collision. Ruthless gets in behind, hops off the Kadesh, and User doesn't realize it. Nice pinch right there. Can Ruthless, though, make the transition to the second? He does, so that's going to be time now in their favor. Looking to cap out into the site. Audit hops up. Can't clear it out. Nice help from Syndria. Just not enough for the cap just yet. 31 seconds. Deanazi finds another triple kill.
And you gotta think, if they don't find that triple there from Deanazi, they're probably done that B zone. They get the extra the extra minute on the clock, and now they're just in such a bad spot. Everybody on the likes of Midway University just able to watch over. They can continue to just set up these players, knock them down from behind. Audit and Co. They should be able to close this out. Riot really the only player close enough to touch. He's gonna drop as well. And Tennessee Wesleyan, I mean, around that, honestly, they should have at least been able to get the first zone. Just unfortunately, Deanazi just said no.
Yeah, we haven't really been seeing a lot of these lower end teams have a chance to capture a site in control just yet. It's been very thorough from these squads, but I think out of the two controls that we've seen yet, I think that was the best chance that we've had for one of these lower seeded teams to find a site take. And then Tennessee Wesleyan, you would think that if they could clear out Deanazi there, they had that site, add another minute to it, and Midway would have to bunker down on the A site. But now we've flipped the sides, and it's going to be Tennessee on the defense, sending 3 right up A, right into green. Audit is going to have a lot to work with. King is going to find that opening with the Diamante. Second one's going to be User, though, as he finds the trade. And that leaves the middle of the map wide open for Syndria to get it behind. Back and forth trades for either squad. And finally, Tennessee are able to take that advantage.
Interesting break off from Midway there. They put a lot of pressure going over towards the A side. They're continuing to keep the pressure there. And I mean, I think this only works out well for the likes of Midway, or for the likes of Tennessee Wesleyan right now, with how split focus their pressure really has been here so far. And again, they completely clear out A. So now Midway, I think with a minute left, they're now realizing, hey, you know what? We need to just put our focus on the B, try to get this extra minute onto the clock now. But Tennessee, they still have a chance to be able to break back into this.
User, King around the corner. Big one-on-one. So he's going to be able to hop on and contest it for now. Time's still going to be stopped. Syndria leading the charge against Midway, but the collapse from Deanazi, they clear it off. Still working on this tick. But 48 seconds, Jesse. And you look at player number 4, Ruthless has found his way inside green. Could be a key to this pinch. A team nade from Riot. Syndria is going to go down. Ruthless finally striking from behind through that green room. They have to be fast, though. They're giving up this B side, and they might force this time. King in the collapse. He's there, and it's in time. No, the contention. Not going to be long enough. Midway, they extend the time.
And lives are completely even as well. So Midway, they have a very good chance of being able to do this. But here's the thing. Tennessee has been very good at this A side on defense so far. Well controlling and well trying to stop the team of Tennessee over at B. They've held on to a full break so far over at A. It was off the rip of the start, off the round. That's really where they put a lot of focus. But when Midway finds these kills in the back, it opens up so much pressure they can now hit this from the back.
Audit. In behind her, a little bit shaky, but it's a 2 for 2. Ruthless needs to go big. One last player, he cleans it up. Nice clear from Tennessee. That's going to give them a 2-life lead. They can set up again on these angles, but they are putting a lot of emphasis onto this A site. And that's going to give Midway a lot of map to work through. Riot gets overwhelmed. E-Man's going to find that. The charge through break, it's going to be imminent. You need Riot to set up for this pinch now off this spawn to clear out these teams. Deals some damage. King's able to clear out Audit, but in retaliation, it's 2 for Midway. A third one goes down. Deanazi breaking the site open. Can Ruthless do it again? 2 players on his screen. Left and right, Deanazi floods right on in, and no, he's not able to, but he stays alive long enough for his team to get off on rotations. Tennessee, they can contest it again. User on this box. Hops for 1. 2 ticks in. Time's going through. Hops off those ropes. User finds another one, and it's Midway looking to put away the second round. Ruthless, the only one able to contest, but he hops off.
Ruthless did everything he could in that round to be able to win that game, to be able to win it out for his team, and it just wasn't enough. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing though from the likes of Tennessee on their defense here. I mean, this is looking like a team that really knows what they're doing in terms of how they want to play garrison control defense. So props to them. They looked very good in that round. If Tennessee doesn't get that break, or if Midway doesn't get that break in from the back, they probably have a good chance of being able to hold that round off. If it really came down to, they just need to hold the site for one more big hit there, because the next hit from Midway would have had to have come from the front. Just unfortunately for the Midway, they finally get the break at the right time.
Off the kickoff, we are going to be seeing Midway set up for a 2-on-2 for either side. Inside Green on it. Spots 2, taking the pressure. He backs up, disengage. Allows DNAZI to run wild inside Green as they get 2 right off the bat. But Tennessee, they're still in it. They're able to find 2 in the meantime. They can clean up DNAZI, take this player out of Green. It's going to be huge. The nade peeks on out. The follow-up not going to be there just yet. And I actually, for a second, thought you could make that, but I didn't think you could. Ruthless through the middle, finds the trade. A second one around the corner. A little bit shaky from Audit, but he gets away with the kill. No time just yet from Tennessee. But if this flank can turn out from Sindre, it would have been huge. But DNAZI, he's able to clear him out. Ruthless down as well. As this is just Midway starting to pick up the pieces that fell through the cracks in the start of the round.
I mean, DNAZI, man, he has been so annoying to play against in this game. And, oh, man, that kill there from Audit with the nade afterlife kill. It stops the push from Tennessee from being able to get over towards A. They could have stopped the clock there. Now the full focus is going to have to be on this B site through the middle of the map. They need to try to do anything they can to get DNAZI out of this powerful position. But man, I mean, if I haven't seen a player in Collegiate COD looking like DNAZI does, but it just reminds me of a BZ so much right now, being that annoying player, getting in behind you, shutting you down constantly. Tennessee, they could have touched A. They're not going to be close enough. Midway University, a hot 3-0 here.
And again, on the day, a 3-0 to close out match number 3. This time it's Midway University over Tennessee Wesleyan, as DNAZI led his team to the victory. This was just insane. I mean, he played so good start to finish in the search and the hard point and the control. It's just lights out Call of Duty from DNAZI and his squad. Midway, they take care of business and they move the record from 2-1 to 3-1.
And it'll be really big, too, to see what happens from the rest of this, because we know Full Sail still at 2-1. University of Tennessee Knoxville still at 2-1. The other Keiser University team, not the one that we saw earlier on today, but the other team that they have, also at 2-1. So really will be really big to see at the end of this week who else in this division is able to go to 3-1 from those 4 teams. And I mean, Midway with this win could absolutely have cemented themselves as the 3rd best team here in this division.
Could have done just that. As we're taking a look at this replay from the game, you see DNAZI. I mean, he was just having a great time here. This push into Ruthless, the fact that he waited for the reload to get into that, you know that Ruthless was having a stand-up job on top of that radar. It was just a matter of time before he got cleared off. You said it yourself. I mean, Ruthless was doing everything he could on defense to make sure his team was still in it. It's not enough. And when it's a 1v4 like that into the site, when you're looking back at this, there's just a lot to go over. And I just don't think the team play is there for Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean, Ruthless did absolutely everything. He really did his best there to try to win that lone defensive round that they had. And honestly, it looked like they could have pulled it out. But, I mean, maybe if he gets a little bit more help there. And, I mean, I don't even fully want to say, like, hey, they looked great in that game. Because, honestly, or that Midway looked great in that game. Because I honestly don't think they did look that great in that control. I think that might be the weakest mode that we've seen from them so far here. I mean, obviously with the 250 to 40 win on the first map, 6-1 win on the search and destroy, they looked very good in both those modes. But there were some signs of weaknesses in this game number 3. You got to think when they were hitting in that second round, the way that they were pushing in towards the back, it just felt like they were constantly trying to send all 4 through. And we know when you're playing defense on that round, and you're sitting inside of it, it's so hard once the offensive team gets into that spot. You need to set up a pinch, and they were kind of just trying to always hit from the back on their offense, and I don't think that's a recipe for success. Something for them to go back and look at, if you will.
Well, Jesse, we're through 3 matches for the day, and we got one more best of 5 to close out week number 4 for the NACE Starleague stream. Coming up after the break, it is going to be Lebanon Valley College against Shawnee State University, the best matchup we've had so far. Both team 3-0. You're going to see one finally give up a win or give up a loss to the other team. So this is going to be an interesting one. You're watching NACE Starleague. After the break, map number 4. Stay tuned. Folks, welcome back to the NACE Starleague Call of Duty week number 4. My name is Seymour, alongside me, Cruz, and we have Shawnee State Bears going up against Lebanon Valley College in our match number 4. Before we hop into that, I have a little bit of a message for you, because the stream, it is sponsored by the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and their work, it's helped millions to impact of it helps millions that have been impacted by cancer. The drugs and treatments they develop for blood cancers have helped people affected by many different types of cancers. And the LLS is the forefront to fight and cure cancer. So through them, they're the leaders in advancing breakthroughs in immunotherapy and genomics and personalized medicine. They've revolutionized new treatments originally discovered through blood cancers. Research are now being tested in clinical trials for other cancers. So the mission of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society is to cure leukemia and lymphoma, Hodgkin's disease, and melanoma, and improve the quality of life of patients and their families. So if you want to find out more, give them a shout or help them out, you can check out www.lls.org for more information. That's www.lls.org if you want to find out more about the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. But back to the action for today, Jesse. We got Shawnee State Bears going up against the Lebanon Valley College. We're going to take a look at this head-to-head, and this is looking like it's going to be the match of the night. You got both teams 3-0. Let's take it away.
Yeah, fantastic looking teams from both these guys. I mean, LVC Esports, obviously, 3-0. Shawnee State University also at 3-0, like you said. I think the only big thing and the only big difference between these two teams is the fact that you have Shawnee State University still undefeated on map count at 9-0. And when you're looking at the side of Lebanon Valley College, it is 3-0 for themselves. Or sorry, 9-3 for themselves with that 3-0 record, obviously. So I think that's really the only big things and the big takeaways to look at between these two teams is that one team is still undefeated, so you got to give that maybe a little bit of an advantage to Shawnee State Bears, but I don't think that it just comes as easily as that. I think when you're looking at this, we're looking at a pretty tight series coming to us.
I think this is probably one of the best matches that we've had on stream out throughout the 3 weeks of this broadcast, Jesse. So I'm excited to see what they can bring. I mean, both of these squads, they've broken through the top 10 of the coaches pool. And honestly, I think they'd be a top 10 throughout all of collegiate. I think they have the chance to break through into that standing. They've dipped in and out constantly for the past, I think, season prior to this. And in doing so, I think that puts them in the showing that for NACE this year, they are one of the top contenders.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the next thing that we need to look at with these two teams is our maps for this series. And I mean, we got a banger of a map set for you guys here. Starting off, once again, going back to Garrison Hardpoint, Moscow Search and Destroy. So a lot of what we've seen from today, and then a control on raid, followed by a checkmate hardpoint and a standoff search and destroy. And man, I hope we go the full distance of this series, because I want to see these two teams playing as much as possible against each other right now.
I want to see a map 4. I think we are due for a map 4, Cruz. I think we've seen
we need it.
We've seen enough of just the 3-0s for the night. These two teams, they want that victory at the end. I want to see them pry it from each other.
I swear to God, if we see a 50-point club right now, I don't mean to cut you off, Colin, but if we see a 50-point club again right now, I'm getting up and I'm walking out. You're doing the rest of this by yourself.
Okay, well, you know what? Please don't be a 50-point club when we're doing this. But I'm looking at it. I'm excited. If we can get to that standoff, I'd love to see some standoff. I'm pretty sure we have yet to see it in the NACE Starleague, at least on broadcast for just now. Maybe one time in a map number 2, but I don't think we've actually made it the distance to a map 5 yet. So that's going to be huge if we can do so. Checkmate for map number 4 if it goes to that one. Like I said, the assault rifles are going to be a big play for that. But where we're starting off, we're heading back to the playground of Garrison. That's the submachine guns place to just hang out. We saw it in D-Nazi, though. In that last series, he was able to take control with the assault rifles, and it's something I haven't really talked about for the day for a map like Garrison, Jesse, is the impact that the assault rifles can have for the submachine guns. Because if you have an assault rifle like D-Nazi was in that past one, in the last game, you're going to be able to allow your submachine guns to just do all that more.
And he was playing with that AR like it was a submachine gun as
he
well.
Was.
And I mean, you're not wrong at all, though. When you're playing, especially on Garrison Hardpoint, the big thing with this map is, yes, your submachine guns can run wild. But like you said, if you have the right ARs watching over those submachine guns, it makes their life so much easier. And you're not wrong at all. That's going to be the big thing that we need to be looking at going into this series.
It's going to be fantastic. Can't wait to see this. I mean, whoever comes on top, I think it's going to be the icebreaker for the series, but I don't expect it to deter them from that map number 2 at all. We're heading into Germany for this map number 1 in Garrison. Lebanon Valley College, Shawnee State University, both teams 3-0 right now, and they're looking to hand the first L to the opposite. So let's hop into this hard point. Let's get things started and waste no time at all. Starting with Lebanon Valley on that offensive side, on the less preferred side, they're going to be looking to break in and make sure that they can keep that green control.
And a great break off from themselves here. It's going to be a lot of pressure onto Dunder here, who's had a fantastic start to his game at 3-1. And oh, he almost picks up the 4th there as well. And I mean, if he finds that kill, it would have been so much easier for them to flip these spawns, but they will get the spawn flip nonetheless. No pressure from the likes of Lebanon Valley going in towards that hill number 1 anymore, because with only 5 seconds left, you can see both teams just trying to put full focus on this hill too.
Yeah, through green, the flood, they're flying on in. You have 1 for 1. Tenacious gets overwhelmed. Good for 2. That's White Chicken and Shadow Man with a full 3 break for Shawnee, as they're going to be getting this lead swap early. You got Crazy Catherine inside bricks, not able to handle off on Verotics. Luckily, your submachine gun's on site. AC, he's off that top ropes. He's got the backup from the assault rifles. Verotrox goes down. And still Shawnee in control.
What a hold from Shawnee so far on the less preferred side to try to hold this hill from. And I mean, as you hit into the later half of this, with how well they were able to hold on to this hill from that side, the less preferred side now becomes the more preferred side, because now with 20 seconds left, they're spawning on the right-hand side. They can try to string these 2 hills together, and they basically get a 30-30 split off of that hill as Lebanon Valley was able to break in towards the back half of it. And with this push forward from Lebanon, they're actually going to force 2 players to spawn out here. So these 2 players in the back from Shawnee, they need to go big right now.
This does. Tenacious throws out some shots on White Chicken, but it's only going to back them up and allow for the Shadow Man to help him display some aggression over towards these attackers. They have that site control. They are going to take their lead up. Dunder from the top ropes gives the work to the Shadow Man. Now looking for the rest of them. In the back, it's still the White Chicken with that assault rifle, not allowing Lebanon Valley to get in behind Veritox. He's able to get into this hill for a short amount, but he's going to hop right into that generator. And you have a perfect setup from Shawnee right now to deal with this Minty and Dunder. They get 4 right into this hill, right through the front door. But look at these spawns from Shawnee. They're going to have another hit to that. Luckily, Dunder, he makes the heads-up play. He rotates around that generator, and he picks up those spawns.
Well, you talked about going into this, how an AR can be effective on this map as well, and Dunder so far showing off 10-5 on another 4 spree for himself here, possibly looking to find some streaks here for himself, for his team. Streaks towards the back half of this game can help you break hills 2 and 3 so much easier, but unfortunately he does end up falling. Not going to find those streaks for themselves here. I mean, as Lebanon Valley, I think the one big thing that I'm taking away from this that they're doing so well is even when they don't have the streaks, or even when they don't have the hills, I should say, they're still able to at least break in with around 30 seconds left, and they're splitting these money hills right now. They're not giving up too much time.
Crazy Catherine, a dance inside green. Tenacious still alive, snaps to a second, can't make it a third. But Lebanon Valley, they're still in control of this garbage hill. And they're able to swap sides for Shawnee, flip the spawns on out. If they can get one good wipe, they might be able to set them up in a spawn trap. However, you see Shawnee take another swing at it. Fairtox able to shut down AC. And now this is where things get dangerous. Oh, luckily Shawnee, though, they do get the spawn out over into that hill number 3. I don't think LVC were ready for it, and AC is going to take advantage of that one. Here comes the flood from Shawnee around these boxes. AC not checking for Dunder on that prone. He's going to hop up for 2. That saves LVC.
He's on 4 in a row again. Looking to possibly find some streaks once again for himself here. Oh, and he does end up falling, so he just can't find those last couple kills to confirm the streaks for himself. But, I mean, this is a must-answer hill for Shawnee here. They don't want to go down too much in this game to the likes of Lebanon Valley, who's been able to break on them very easily throughout a couple of these money hills. I mean, looking at the scoreline, you would think that Lebanon Valley has had a lot better of a fortune in terms of rotations, but really it's been Shawnee who have been winning all the rotations out. But Lebanon Valley just taking advantage of second halves of the hills and also just being able to break on in through a lot of these hills right now.
Shadow Man, shaky shots, but he's able to find Tenacious. Double the points right now is Lebanon Valley. I found Shawnee. I need to hold on to this one. Minty peeks out. It's a big kill for White Chicken. You gotta take a look at your mini-map, because Tenacious, he snuck his way inside green. This could be the pinch that LVC need to get into this one. They have the flank as well. Player number 3, Veritox, waiting for his chance to strike. AC doesn't see him. That's gonna be a free kill now. Here's the SMG, able to pop on out with Minty on that flank. The pinch is good. They break on in. LVC, they're starting to get this time now in Hill 1.
AC doesn't notice that player in the bottom corner, and it just opens up every angle once that player drops for all of Lebanon Valley to just be able to push in and break into that L. So, I mean, LVC Esports, they have looked fantastic here. They still continue to hold on to this left-hand side of the map spawns as well, so they can now try to transition this with these back 15 seconds from this hill in towards our next. And, I mean, it's really only Shadow Man here who can try to make this play for the likes of Shawnee Esports, and they just can't. So, Lebanon Valley, this could be the first time we see them early set up on a money hill.
The Bears, a conglomerate inside green. They want to fly. See all 4 players set up to handle this. They have the crossfire. They have the numbers. Minty is actually taking the advantage. Shadowman goes down out of the sight. So it's going to slow this down. Finally, White Chicken out and about. Veritox puts some shots down. Dunder clean it up. The crossfire is so good for Lebanon Valley. And they're looking to break past 200 points.
What was once a game that was like a 20-point game, absolutely blown out of the water here for Lebanon Valley, as they just continue just to run away with it. They're doing everything right in this game right now. This rotation from Shawnee Esports is either going to bring them back into this game or just really start to close this one out here for LVC. It's really up to Shadow Man. He needs to stay alive in this situation.
Always say, I think he spotted him. Veritox, though, he's going to get killed. The second one, Tenacious.
That's a flip.
Was expecting it. He gets the kill. That's the flip out. Now, Shawnee, they have to race on through this. I mean, this is a big gap in the lead. They need this hill to stay in this to keep it going. The flood through the front. AC and White Chicken, they find 2. Now you need to break the spawns, but Tenacious and Minty, they cut down 3 in a row. Tenacious is looking for a 4th one. Sees him in the corner, cleans up AC. That is a big shutdown right now for Lebanon Valley. They can put this game away. 20 seconds left. Shawnee, last chance to get into this. They have the wrap from Crazy Catherine. She's going to drop. Veritox, another one. So Lebanon Valley handling this perfectly. Another 3 down. AC has to get into the site, but he cannot. You have the break for Lebanon Valley early enough to get into this hill. And they break the map open. 250 to 82. You're not leaving me. Wasn't a 50-point club.
And if, I mean, Minty and Tenacious, I mean, one thing to talk about really quickly is they both finished that game on an 8 spree for themselves here. Just showing you how strong those last 2 hills and hills 2 and 3 can be for your team when you get the full setups and you don't drop off those hills. Both players finding full streaks, able to completely run through that Shawnee State University team. And Shawnee State, man, they showed some promise, and that's the first map that they've lost here in NACE Starleague all season long. But they showed a lot of promise through the early portions of that game. I think the big difference for me looking at these two teams and what happened from that first set of rotations into that second set is Lebanon Valley State College was able to break into hills when we saw Shawnee State set up on those big money hills. Shawnee State, on the other hand, not able to break in nearly as well as we saw Lebanon Valley.
No, they weren't. And I think Shawnee started off so good because they were playing on those power angles, but then things got a little bit chaotic. They were forcing some gunfights that maybe they didn't need to take, and we also started to see some players on LVC take some pretty cheeky angles. I mean, that right there, as we're looking at the replays, AC, he should have saw Veritox there. I mean, that was unfortunate in that, and when you're flooding into the side, I mean, you can't really fault the Bears for that last hill. It's hard to break into hill number 3 during any time of the game, not even at the end, Jesse. So the fact that Shawnee State couldn't get into it, it's a hard one. And I mean, Garrison, there's a lot of factors into it that allow a team to really shine. And I think Lebanon Valley, when they came out, their submachine gun players, their assault rifle players, they were just on the same page.
And I mean, kind of to go back to that AC play, I think that's just one of those situations where he's jumping out. He's not even looking down to that corner. He doesn't expect the player to be down to that corner. He's probably looking somewhere top green, just kind of tunnel visioning, if you will. So, I mean, I think we've all been there. It's happened to all of us at one time or another, playing Call of Duty or any type of shooter. And in that fact, you know what? You just sometimes miss it. But that play there absolutely opened up everything for him to be able to get on in. And actually, we'll get to see it again one more time right here. It's just AC. He's just a little bit tunnel visioned in that situation, doesn't see that player. And what that does is it just opened up so much for the rest of Lebanon Valley to pinch back in, and that's really where they start to take over that game, was right there.
Yeah, I mean, if AC was able to find that kill, he's able to move farther down the platform, take control of where we usually see B control on Garrison, and then you have a pinch set up, but you look into the right of your screen when you need to be looking at like the center area so you see everything, and just get caught out. Like you said, it happens to everybody. But talking about map number 2, we're headed to the search and destroy, Jesse, and this is where Shawnee State, they can definitely kind of fight a lot better than in that hard point. It's a lot different in the sense than Garrison in general. I think just wasn't the pick for Shawnee State. I think they're gonna have a lot more of a strong showing when you just escape the armories of Garrison.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think when you're looking at like the overall map set here, I think this is a map that could really work out for them in their favor. The ARs looks like they were on point in that first map. It just kind of seemed like the SMGs kind of weren't there in sense of firing on all cylinders the way that LVC's was. So, I mean, if they can find a way to maybe pick it up a little bit with their SMGs, this is absolutely a map where ARs can still dominate a little bit heavier than where we saw the SMG play, in at least from Garrison.
Oh, of course it is. And I mean, when you're seeing it, I mean, what do you want to see from Shawnee off to start? I mean, is there any sort of play that you want to see from him? A certain strat?
Go B.
Just go B.
Please,
okay.
please, just hit B. I mean, like we say it all the time. We say it literally all the time, but they never listen to us. They never listen. Everybody always goes A. They always go A. We just want to see him go B a couple of times.
And it's not like the worst thing. I think that like something to be looking at for a map like this, and when you have that B site so open, that I think a lot of teams, like towards the end of Cold War, they've realized like at the start it was go A just because you don't really know the strats of the site. Towards the middle of it, you start to see them pick it apart. You know that the trophies aren't there right away, so the B site's a lot more kind of open for your sense to get that bomb down, set up for a post plant position. But towards the end of it, I think teams are just like, let's just go back to A again. If things don't work, you can cut through escalators, through checkers, take control, and just go for it. I think it's because it's later on into the end of it that we're not seeing those nitty gritty strategies. So let's head over to the Motherlands again, see Moscow for the search and destroy, and see if Shawnee State can bring this one back. AC opens up with a big first blood through checkers, and that's going to open up a lot of this map. But look at Lebanon in reaction. They take control of Fountain.
Yeah, that's a really interesting play. And I mean, it's really going to be up to Dunder right now to hold down this side of the map and not allow them to come through. And when he doesn't see any of these players, Veritox needs to be watching. He sees the full cross. He's going to know that there's a lot of players there, but the nade is going to give away his position, but he will at least get one.
Yeah, Shadow Man didn't get the call on that nade. You know, at least one player's there. Crazy Catherine, shots from Tenacious. You need this bomb to go down. You need it to go down safely. as Dunder's going to have a one-on-one with AC in the back line. You could be ready for this. The front line battle, it's being lost. You need AC now to back up Shadow Man, the Flood. It's perfect. Dunder from behind, inside screens. Every single player winning their one-on-one in Lebanon Valley. The perfect retake.
All right, well, you talked about wanting to see some different strategies. I love that strategy call from Lebanon Valley there. They completely just take over the A site. Not only just take over the A site, but they make it look like the A site's completely open, but little did they know, Shawnee State, they're all in their spawn, man. They push straight through A once they don't see anybody and just play towards the back stairs side of the map. And nobody on Shawnee State was ready for them to be on that side of the map, and it just opened up so much pinch potential for them to be able to win the rest of that round out. Beautiful round from LVC.
Back onto the defense for Shawnee. They're not going to be sending anybody to B, not even to Boulevard. Instead, player number 2 is going to get aggressive through checkers. They're going to have a quick reaction to the setup that Lebanon Valley has, but can Shadow Man at least find one? The nade's going to tag him up, peeks on that through, and Veritox is able to find the second one. They're keeping this going, but AC, with that checkers play, he's able to react so fast and find the equalizer.
He gets out with his life, too, but here's the thing. This is the difference between the 2 hits that we saw coming in for this retake. There's nobody really on the left-hand side for Shawnee. Now there is coming up through escalators, and that grenade's going to open up so much for them as well, though.
Player advantage 2-2. Minty looks to flood into screens, but AC ready for it. The disengage was perfect, and just like that, Shawnee, they get back into it with a great retake of their own.
I feel so foolish because I was talking about how tough that retake was going to be because it was a 3 versus 3 at the situation when I started talking about it, Colin. And then as soon as it starts to happen, this grenade here completely opens it all up. What a nade from Crazy Catherine to find that kill. And I mean, it just makes a tough situation so easy at that situation because now you can just pinch on into the hill. And I mean, he basically gets 2 free ones with the nade and then shooting the player in the back. Cleans up the round. I feel foolish.
I mean, Veritox looked like he wanted to make the rotation out just to have a better position against that assault rifle player, but caught rotating. It's a tough one. We're seeing Shawnee State go back to this attack now as the Shadow Man is going to be holding that bomb. Last time they took control of checkers, overwhelming for that first blood, but this time you're going to have one lurk outside of gold and the rest going towards A to fly out. Veritox back in the position we saw last round. That stun's going to give a lot away. The nade to follow up. Backs up Shawnee State. But off screen, you can see White Chicken lose the one-on-one to Minty this time inside the middle of the map. So that's going to be less numbers now that Tenation finds a second one. And the collapse from Shawnee after they lose that first player. It's just phenomenal. A second round for Lebanon Valley.
One thing I really like from Lebanon Valley is every single time they get like a first blood or find a kill through the middle of the map, or realize that a lane is open, is they just push completely through and get into the flank of Shawnee State, and it's just making it so tough on them on their offenses.
It is, and I think that Shawnee just needs a lot more insurance in that play. I mean, you have the player in gold, but he gets so aggressive through checkers. It's like he wanted to have the pinch covered through escalators, but you don't need to get that aggressive in that sense. So this time around, Lebanon go back to the A site. All 4 players here. You have player number 2, AC, again with that quick cut through checkers, but Shadow Man's going to get overwhelmed. You go 1 for 1, and instead of pushing through escalators, Shawnee, they're going to back up and help out Crazy Catherine again. Thunder takes the shots. Big win for that one, and there's the backer from the AC that you wanted to see. Veritox alone. A double kill for AC. Another great defense here on Moscow.
Back-to-back rounds where AC pretty much makes the exact same play. As soon as he realizes his player over at the A site goes down, he's playing this middle map kind of like roaming position where he's in the middle, he realizes what happens, and so he makes the full push back to his spawn, comes back out here, and he's able to find the last 2 in this final kill cam. But it's just these little plays that he's making where he's not individually challenging from the escalators, making these solo pushes, and it's helping his team out so much for being able to retake this bomb site. And we've seen it twice in a row now where the bomb has gone down for Lebanon Valley. They seem to be in a good spot where they just can't close the rounds out. But it kind of feels like neither team right now can really close out an offensive round once they get that bomb down.
It feels like towards the end of Cold War, instead of seeing these strategic plays really shine for either side, it's more so the individual plays. And I like that AC is playing a lot of playing more reactive to the plays of Lebanon Valley, but we see how this time the B hit goes because Thunder's playing deep in this boulevard. Nobody's going to see that, and a free kill through the glass. It's going to trade 1 for 1. The nade, Thunder's going to be damaged. They know he's back there, and White Chicken, great shots to clean him up. So numbers going to be to Shawnee State. So looking to get in B, put this bomb down, and play the numbers game tenacious. Looking to trade even, but another great bait and switch out there from Shawnee State. This time it's White Chicken.
Oh, AC.
Find that kill. Yeah, AC gonna be in a tough spot there. 2v1.
That's twice now where he's just been in a corner and just gotten called out. But nonetheless, Veritox all by himself here. It's going to be a tough one to complete. And I mean, as soon as he sees where this bomb is planted, you got to think he's going to know that they are back boulevard.
This is the expected. Set up Veritox. No way you're going to stretch this one. Shadowman spots that. No way, sir. 3-2. Shawnee, this time around, they win the attacking side. This is the first attacking round we have seen on Moscow right now. And they take the first lead as well.
Yeah, that could really swing our game now with the fact that they're able to close that first offensive round win out. And Dunder, unfortunately for himself, he gets caught out in that best play of the round. And you got to think if he wins that, or if he's able to take that second gunfight there, that's probably a Lebanon Valley round win with just how these defensive rounds have gone. But nonetheless, we finally see a B hit. We finally see a round win. Who would have thought? Now, looking at the rest of this, Lebanon Valley College, they're going to make the play call the difference this time through. It's going to be a mid hit, but they've got a lot of players to deal with from Shawnee State.
Shadowman. He's got the backup. Bomb down. And AC, you know he's been playing that reactive angle. He's going to push through escalators. You have the watch. Collapse, though, from Shawnee. He's going to be here. White Chicken finds Minty. Dunder all alone. Able to recover the bomb and escape. So, 1v3, and you have a little bit to work with. Actually, he can make it to B uncontested. Nobody's going to spot this.
No, nobody will spot the cross, but as soon as he gets this bomb down, he's going to need to find one after putting the bomb down. Hopefully, he can find maybe White Chicken out before he puts this bomb down. It would make the round a lot easier. Oh, but him jumping, he might have heard that. There could be an audio cue from that.
And they don't see anything, but he's going to find AC and not White Chicken, and that just calls for the pop-up and the round win. 4-2 here at Moscow as you're able to string together now a couple rounds in a row. As off of that first offensive round, you just go back to the basics and win defense again. And you have to be thinking that, I like that Lebanon Valley, how they switch something up. They try to overwhelm checkers exactly like Shawnee State have been doing. But with the passive plays that you have from White Chicken inside that half wall, you just have such a good reinforcement for the Shadow Man that's just sitting and bobbing and weaving inside of checkers.
And with that offensive win as well from Shawnee, it's going to put a lot of pressure now on Lebanon Valley because, yeah, their defenses have been coming to them a little bit easier now, but now you're pretty much in a spot where you need to win an offense, and they just haven't really been able to find a lot of success on their offenses. They get bombs down, but Shawnee State's defense just looks very, very strong. And now another different hit coming in from Shawnee State this time through. They will send 3 players in through middle of the map. And Lebanon Valley, I'm interested to see if they make the same play they did in round number 1. And it's exactly what they do. 2 players are going to just push all the way through in towards the library part of the map. And if this bomb gets rotated over towards A, they can set up a very good pinch and try to stop this bomb plant from coming down.
Looking at player number 6, Veritox. Shots are there, but not able to find the kill. So the bomb actually has made its way up to the A site. To 4v3, make it a 4v2 as Dunder catches AC on the rotation, and Shawnee, they are trapped right now between Lebanon Valley, and in the valley, they are gonna walk through and find themselves losing the round. 4-3, Lebanon Valley, plenty of time to get this defuse. A flawless round to just bring them back in and cut the momentum that Shawnee has been picking up.
But now here comes the hard part again. They need to win an offense. This has been their big struggle in this game so far. 3 offenses, 3 offensive losses. They get their 4th chance here. And it's not like they haven't been throwing different strategies at Shawnee either. They've been doing different things throughout these rounds. They've gone A twice. They went middle of the map last time. The only thing we really haven't seen from them is a solid B hit. I mean, if I'm Shawnee, I might even be thinking that they're going to do a hit like that. I would maybe pressure it a little bit more. It's not the case at all. Heading back over towards A, it hasn't worked out for Lebanon Valley College yet. But I mean, with only 1 player over here right now for the likes of Shawnee State, you got to imagine if they can get this bomb down fast enough, they might be able to overwhelm and get a 4v3 on the site.
It's almost like Shawnee tried to anticipate they'd go B this time.
That's what I thought too. I mean, I was right there with them.
Dunder on escalators can catch this cross. Is able to find that first blood. Can you find a second? They have the crossfire set up. It's a little bit tagged up. Peeks up for seconds. AC is able to trade it out, but you still have that numbers there. Veritox is going to find a third. It's up to AC. 1v3. Submachine gun, what can you do? Throw shots into Minty, but as you cross, Tenacious is there. Big round for Lebanon to tie us back up. Lebanon Valley College are right back into Moscow.
This is the chess game that is search and destroy. Kind of like you said in the middle of that round with Shawnee. They kind of played the hard counter. They figured, hey, you know what? These guys haven't tried to hit B at all yet. I was right there with them. I thought they were going to go towards B as well. Not the case. Lebanon Valley, they stick to their guns. They go back towards A. They're able to close the round out for themselves. And now comes the situation again where you got to think if one of these two teams can take with this next offense or their next offense, that's probably could put the be the straw that breaks the camel's back.
It's going to be a 3-on-3 on the site. Veritox back into the pillar. Old Tenacious is going to land the stun. Is he going to follow up with this nade, though? It doesn't seem like it. They're just holding Shawnee State back. I like this play. AC is going to take the long way around. Look to fish for Veritox into this corner. Veritox puts some shots through. He's going to be collapsed on now. He needs to get out. As a big one feeds them into Dunder. Minty finds a second off screen. That's going to be bombed down. However, AC has snuck his way through into that garden all alone. 1v3 again. A is able to make it a 1v2. You got to worry about Minty now inside screens. And they know exactly where AC is. Minty makes the play to aggress into it. And it's going to be now Matt point for Lebanon Valley College.
It's a great search and destroy.
This is.
I mean, I would have loved in that round there to see Shawnee State University rotate out that time as opposed to stay on that site. I think they were kind of just running into a trap. Once you have players throwing stuns and nades into A and you don't see anybody bobbing up, you got to imagine there's a few players there just playing some off angles, and it's kind of just a trap that you're walking into at that point of time. But now Shawnee, they just need to do what they've done all game long. Just pick up another defensive win. You guys have been doing it so well so far. And here comes the B hit from Lebanon Valley College. We've been waiting for it all game. We have not seen it yet. And there is no pressure from Shawnee State over here.
Well, so far in the game, B hits are 1 for 1. We've only seen it happen one time, and it was successful. So with Shawnee spotting that cross, you see player number 1 and 4 are going to rotate with the Shadow Man playing very close inside the closet. He's actually gonna push through apartments, take a little bit of damage, and have to back on out. Big round, big win though. This White Chicken draws first blood. Dunder might be in a little bit of pickle. The Shadow Man not able to finish it off, but he's got backup, and that backup is big because Veritox now 1v4. Shawnee looking for a round 11, and Veritox is the one in their way. He has bomb, but he's in a very tough situation. He's going to have to force his way inside this apartment, find not just the gunfight win, but 2 before getting this bomb down. And the Shadow Man sitting prone, spots Veritox. That should be the collapse now. He goes in for seconds, and the Shadow Man set up for victory. Shawnee State bring us to a round 11.
You got to look at this round, and this is the reason they win this round right here. It's White Chicken, the beautiful watch over of his teammate here in Shadow Man. Shadow Man was in a tough spot. If he does not have White Chicken there, that is a easy cleanup for the 4 players on the likes of Lebanon Valley College. But instead, White Chicken, he's got his teammates back. He watches over him. He finds the first, gets the second in the round as well. And that just makes that round so much easier for the likes of Lebanon Valley. But because of how the kills have gone in this game, it will be Lebanon Valley who gets this final defense. And we've seen defenses held so strong throughout this game. I'd be pretty surprised to not see Shawnee State go towards B, since that was the only thing that's really worked for them so far on defense.
Oh, they are going to rotate through gold, but they're instantly going to back up into checkers. And this whole area of the map is wide open. Tenacious is going to back up to that hill number 2. Watch for the cross, spots the toes of Shadow Man. And he's going to let him know that that is not unchecked. So how will Shawnee State react to this? I'd like to see them back out. Oh, no.
Don't do this to us.
Oh, no.
Don't do this to us in a round 11. No. Call of Duty, why?
What? Why?
Call of Duty, why you got to do this to us, man? We get our best game of the day. That search and destroy was so good. Oh man.
Okay, like
that
what were you expecting there? Okay, Shawnee, they're backed up into there. I was expecting them to dip out of checkers, head to gold, make the flank play around whether you want to take control of Boulevard or you want to take control of Fountain. That's really up to Shawnee State, but wherever they were going to go, they had the gamble that there would be one player at one of those sites, considering that Tenacious was all the way deep inside hill number 2. So I was curious to see how they would react to that, and I was expecting the disengage to kind of go back and figure something out. I liked what I was seeing from Shawnee State. I hope they win that round 11. I want them at 4.
You there. I actually think that Lebanon Valley were in a good spot to win that round myself, with the way that they had them all kind of trapped in the middle of the map there. So, I mean, we'll obviously hear what ends up happening out here, but I think Lebanon Valley were in a pretty good spot. They had a player over at A, they had a player at B, they had that one player hankering down, watching middle of the map. I think they were in a good spot to be able to close that one out. So I'm kind of against you on that one, but that was. That is just pain. That is just pain right there. That's all I know from that.
I'm glad you are against me. I'm glad you are, because we just got word that Lebanon Valley, they won the round 11, and now they're up 2-0 into the series, so we get to mark another number up into that. I mean, that's just why you're the color caster, and you get to see the deeper meaning into whatever we're seeing. But I'm just like, hey, if you guys just back up, go around the corner, take another side on that. I mean, it was a gamble. If they went to B, it would have been like a 4-on-1, but they must have gone through.
Well, they had to cross through middle, though. That's the problem, right? To get to in that situation, they would have had to have crossed all the way through the middle of the map, and that's just such a tough spot to cross when you have that player set up on that back plat area, watching over from ticket booth. So it's just tough. It's not an easy situation to really be able to handle for yourself, and I'm sure one or two probably got caught out in that spot with where they were. It's unfortunate for the likes of Shawnee State University, because I thought they played that search and destroy really well. There's just a little bit of small little nuances that they can clean up throughout that game, but I mean, this is their first big test here in the NACE Starleague, and they had not lost a map going into this. Now down 2-0 to the likes of Lebanon Valley College heading in towards this control.
That just shows why Lebanon Valley College are in the top 10 of the coaches poll. I didn't see where Shawnee State were in there, but I remember seeing that Lebanon College were like maybe 5th or 6th, if I do reckon.
The coaches poll?
In the coaches poll, there was somewhere around that. So this is why they're there. They might 5th, not. They might not have had the exact same scoreline as Shawnee State. They lost, or they won in map 5 against Shenandoah, and doing so, they do have the worst map count against Shawnee State. But actually, there's a reason why this team is in those coaches poll, Jesse, and
crazy enough too, Shawnee State at 3-0 isn't even in the top 10 of the coaches poll either.
No, they're not.
Which is kind of crazy to think as well, with the fact that this team is 3-0 and 9-0 map count. But maybe they've had a little bit of an easy schedule that's kind of flew over our heads, at least through the early portions of their season so far. But I mean, nonetheless, to be 3-0 is still a very good feat. But Lebanon Valley College looking for the sweep here on them.
Look for the sweep. I want to see that game number 4. Shawnee State need to dig deep if they want to win here on raid control. Let's head to the Hollywood Hills and see exactly if they can make that happen. Off this break, it's going to be Lebanon Valley on the attack, looking for this B site right away. The Diamati's going to get overwhelmed by the 74U. Shadow Man, hello. He's fully awake and ready to take over this game. Minty able to walk away with 1 before that happens, but you look at these spawns, exactly what you expect. They're going to spawn at A. Start collecting this time, but I'm surprised Tenacious he chowed that, because Crazy Catherine was full health and he wasn't.
Paradox snuck back through as well. He gets over to the B site, and Minty might be able to catch a couple of these players off through middle of the map, but he looks away at the wrong time. And now the hit from Shawnee, it will have to come through those middle water steps. They're able to at least get 1, but they lose 2 in the process. So now they can put full focus, if you're Lebanon Valley College, over to B. We said it in our last series, you don't want to lose B early on, because A is just so much tougher to hold on to. Lives are practically even. There's 2 minutes left on the clock. Lebanon Valley trying to make their way through Forest.
You got White Chicken, able to find 1. Onto this one, he's going to be a pillar to this setup. Did you see the spawns at Shawnee? They are going to be coming in all the way deep in the basketball course, but White Chicken gets overwhelmed. Shadow Man does too. That's going to be the B-A site opened up, and you look at these spawns are all the way on the pool side. AC is the closest there. Tenacious! Look at those shots with the AR. He's able to jump up, find that kill, and start progressing this A site even farther. Maybe a little bit sloppy. White Chicken not checking his corners. Veritox finds that. Shadow Man in this hill. He's able to double down, clear the site, but Dender to pick up right where his teammate left off. And AC is right back into this. He hits that flank. He's as fast as ever. Playing a little bit of ring around the rosy, but he floods Dender right into his teammate.
That's huge. Those kills are so huge to just force a little bit of stability here for your team. Shawnee now can put full focus on just stopping them from trying to break out of their spawn. Now they can just try to hold a couple of different angles, really shut these players down. But those 2 kills through the middle of the map from Veritox and Dunder, they actually open up a lot. Player 8 will spawn back up with his teammate over towards A, but they know they need to clear these players out of the back of their spawn. This is a great chance now for Lebanon Valley to be able to close this round out.
Yes, it is Crazy Catherine trying to find some shots across from those pool steps, but nobody's going to be throwing a shoulder. Finally, Minty peeks up, and it doesn't even matter. They had the time in their favor. Lebanon Valley, they sneak away with this first round after taking that B site so earlier. And it wasn't the easiest take on A, but most of all, they just keep throwing their bodies until they have that great setup that they did towards the end.
Yeah, and Shawnee, they really did a good job of like stopping them from being able to get those setups a few times through. But when you have 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes almost on the clock to break into that A site, that's why I always say it's so much easier to defend B than it is to defend A in that spot, because when you're over and you're defending onto that B site, you can really just kind of pick a couple of players off. You'll keep spawning up towards water as long as nobody's kind of influencing those spawns from the likes of the offense. But if you're on A and you get spawned out, you're spawning out all the way over at B, and you are just kind of by yourself and screwed at that situation. It's exactly what happens there in that round.
Going for the mid hit. Under! Wow, I think AC hit him with the 360. Crazy Catherine's got the backup, and they're able to jump right through money onto this B site, start stacking it, and start gaining some progression. You look at AC, inside garden, peeks out, spots 2. He's going to get back into this mix, but Casey Catherine turns up with a nice double kill of their own. Minty tries to get into this. He's going to find a successful kill onto 1, and that's going to be enough to allow Dunder to get into it through that pool. And yeah, deny the tick. Jesse, that was huge.
That is insanely huge, because they burn 30 seconds off the clock. They don't allow a tick over at B. And, I mean, that was looking really rough at one point, but Shawnee just don't end up stacking the hill. And, I mean, in that situation, I understand why they're trying to push out to not allow Lebanon Valley to get back to the hill. But, unfortunately, they just end up losing all the gunfights. So, a bad situation just gets a little bit worse there for Shawnee, because not only do you lose the gunfights, but you also just lose any progression you had over towards B.
Well, they shut down Dunder on 6. You get a tick to A, but there's 50 seconds left. So, the spawn's going to be coming up inside the bedroom.
Here comes
They have to rush this B site. Shadow Man, get some information. Do that damage. But you have to take care of Dunder still inside the basketball court. Here calls for Tenacious to jump on out. Dunder for the swing. 3 go down. Shawnee deal with the aggression perfectly. Veritox is the closest one to deal with this, and AC swings for the kill. So that should be the B site done and dusted. Unless the player in basketball courts can make some magical play, and he doesn't need to, because Minty, Dunder, Tenacious, they find 3 in a row, and they clear the site immediately.
AC hopped off the stack. They could have gotten that if AC stayed on the stack, but he pushed back to watch through middle. He wanted to make sure they weren't going to get flanked in that situation. And what ends up happening is they don't finish the tick off because they don't have the 2 stack. Very tough spot. It's a hard spot to make that right read. And now Dunder going huge inside of Tiki completely slows this next push from Shawnee down.
AC still here and still doing some damage. They haven't taken care of Dunder inside Tiki. You have to watch out for that player. Actually, no, they did, so I didn't catch that kill, but they walk away with the B site, extend the time to minute 16. Lives are even. This break is going to be huge. It should make or break this round. They're going to flood in through the kitchen. Dunder finds 2. Can't take the 3rd. Not expecting Crazy Catherine, but you got Tenacious to fill those shoes. There's a minute left. This is so close.
Yeah, and just Shadow Man left now over on this side of the map. This is where it can get really, really tough. We saw it in the last round when Lebanon Valley was trying to break onto A. It really came down to you need to make sure you find a couple of these kills through middle of the map and then get a pinch set up on all angles. I don't know if they have enough lives to be able to set that pinch up.
This hasn't been the cleanest. You look at Veritox, swings from Art, finds 1, immediate trade, keeps them even. It's a 5v4, no respawns for Shawnee State. 1 good break could get this. 30 seconds to make that happen. Crazy Catherine's going to rotate top Art. He's going to take first contact for this information. Calls for the swing for the rest of the team. Shadow Man through pillars. Nice double kill. Minty on this site. Needs to go big around the corner. AC clears them with the help of White Chicken. 3v2 now. Shawnee in control of this. You have time to work on for this retake. Vertox through pillars all alone. Crazy Catherine should spot that out. A big clutch from Shawnee State to tie us up.
This hit through pillars was everything to winning that round. I mean, obviously, it's not this play that's on the screen right now. This was a couple kills from White Chick in the middle of the round. But that hit in the 5 versus 4, they throw a shoulder from pillars, and what that does is it took the eyes off of the player that was sitting on top of rocks. He was kind of looking a little bit further in towards Art, and then as soon as he's looking in towards Art, the player from pillars swings, finds the kill. You get that player out of that power position and opened everything up for the rest of the players on Shawnee to get inside that hill or onto that zone and win that round out. And, oh man, I mean, outside of that hard point, Colin, I'm here for this series right now.
I am here, and I am ready to see how Raid ends up under Big First Blood, expecting AC to push on through, and you expect correctly, but he actually finds it as AC tries to dip on out. A-Site is going, and it is going fast. Shadow Man looking through pillars. Can't make the play this time, but he's still got Crazy Catherine for Shawnee State up top inside Laundry. So they can fly out, get the contestation in. That's what you're going to be seeing from AC. He hops on, finds one, dips on out. He's playing this so well, and from the top ropes, it's AC, and it's always been AC.
Yeah, I mean, outside of a couple like misplays throughout the series, AC has probably been the Shawnee's best player in my opinion. Watching through this, nonetheless, A Zone will get finished off here. Extra minute on the clock, and now basically Lebanon Valley, they have the exact same amount of time, almost the exact same amount of lives. But here's the difference: now they need to put their full pressure and try to break into B. A lot harder of a task than it is to break on A.
Thunder, I thought he slipped through, but AC does the proper check into that corner. It's going to be 2 down for Lebanon. This is going to be a full flood right into kitchen. 2 players already there. You try to get the flank from Shadow Man, but Lebanon Valley, they handle it correctly. Big hip fire with the help of AC. 3 go down. You need to find a second one, but you can't. That's a big break. Now you can stack this site. You can be ready for this. The spawns from Shawnee, they're going to be deep inside Laundry. So they have to make the full rotation out. All 4 players are going to be set up for LVC. Minty taking first contact. Shadow Man, a big win for that one, but the rest of the team not gonna find the kills. Dunder goes 1 for 1. So Tenacious, the last one standing, but can that be enough to collapse it? You got run still. He might have enough time to close this round out, and he does. Lebanon Valley, they win a big attacking round, take themselves onto map point and potential match point, and a huge one-on-one win from Tenacious.
And it's really all about the play through middle of the map from Lebanon Valley once they get that breakout. And it's exactly what they did when they broke onto B or onto A in that last round for themselves either as well on offense. It just really comes down to when they're pushing in, they find these kills through middle of the map and get into positions where they're spawning the opposing team out. And in all honesty with you, watching that back and looking at that play, when they found the 3 wipe onto the Shawnee players, I didn't think they had enough players push forward at that point in time to block out the spawn in basketball. And if Shawnee State would have spawned up in basketball, would have made it a lot easier for them to reinforce and break back into B. But it just wasn't the case. Nobody spawned close enough. Everybody spawned out back towards Laundry, and it makes it so tough to break that.
It's a great break from Shawnee right off the bat. Lebanon, they found a few to drag themselves back into this. AC hops off the site once more, looking to play a little bit of tag around that van, able to find Dunder. You still have Fairtalks here to hop onto the site, and the collapse from Lebanon Valley is just a little bit better. Tenacious breaks on through, and you don't get those spawns to reinforce White Chicken over the B site. Instead, you're going to be spawning up inside the garage. So Shawnee, they still have to work through the setup of Lebanon Valley. Veritas, that's a little bit unlucky. He's going to have to push into driveway, force the gunfight. White Chicken ready for it. That should be an opening to A now. Can they find Under the backline? Able to walk away with run. A second one. No, AC is able to take that, but it's just the trays from Lebanon Valley. They're able to string together 2 or 3 kills at a time.
This could be a really big part of this game, too, because if Lebanon Valley can push forward and just pinch these Shawnee players in the back of their spawn, this is where Shawnee can start to fall into a lot of trouble. They will get a 3 down, though. This opens up a lot towards A now for Shawnee. They should have this zone done. I don't even think you throw bodies at this if you're Lebanon Valley.
Well, Tenacious trying to get in for a little bit of a fun party, but A little bit of a party
I don't know
pooper
how
there,
fun that
Shawnee
party
State.
was.
No, it's not that fun if you're tenacious, but Shawnee, hey, they get to take the time a little bit farther. Minute 35, lives are even now. Can you get the B-side? Minty tanked up. Crazy Catherine can't finish it. That's 2 kills to shut down this attack for Shawnee.
Tenacious playing that cheeky angle on that tree as well, just holding down the back line. Beautiful nade from Shadowman to close that out. He can now try to set up a little bit of a pinch here, unless he gets caught out, and a big one-on-one against Dunder there to win that one out.
First play to take care of Minty. But they've struggled to get rid of that player inside the bedroom. You got Veritox in your spawn. Shawnee, they are trapped right now. And they need to get this player outside of bedroom. I know they want kitchen control, but it's not going to matter. Once you get on the site, Minty's just going to have so much. And Dunder trying to connect 4. He can't. It's AC to shut him down. But he does enough damage to really stump Shawnee State right now. 8 lives, make it 7. This is do or die, 36 seconds. Still have to take care of Minty, and there's just troublesome players inside of bedroom that are shutting Shawnee down inside this control map, looking for the beatdown. Lebanon Valley might just get this 3-0 off this round. You got 21 seconds. It's a 9v2, a 9v1. White Chicken's gonna drop it. Lebanon Valley, they successfully sweep Shawnee State Bears here in series number 4. That was just perfect. And the fact that Minty was able to stay inside bedroom for like a minute and a half was just...
He won them that round. Minty absolutely won them that round. And I mean, we talk about it all the time when it comes down to Call of Duty, and it comes down to raid control. And Colin, it really comes down to, when you're looking at it, when you're in that situation of Shawnee State University in that map, you need to make sure you're clearing that player out of bedroom first. That's job number 1 when you're trying to break into that B side. And that's what makes breaking the B side so much harder than the A side, is you have that dominant position that you can sit a player or 2 up there as the defense. And if you get into that spot, it's so hard to break out of, because that player's just there to constantly be shooting you in the back, to be that a nuisance on the map. Shawnee, they were doing a great job of just consistently pressuring middle of the map, getting in towards kitchen, getting in towards money. But every time they hopped out of money, you've got that player set back there, ready to shoot them from the back of their bedroom, and it just makes it so much harder to be able to win those rounds out. It's just a tough situation, but that should always be job number 1 while on offense, trying to break that hill.
Should be job number 1 at all moments of a control. Jesse, when we look back at this game, map number 1 inside the hard point. I mean, Lebanon Valley, they had that in control. It was 250 to 83 in the garrison, and they shut out Shawnee State. It was a close start, but very distant finish in that. We looked at the search and destroy in a different eye. I think that was the best that we've seen Shawnee State University across the whole series. It went all the way to around 11. We didn't get to see how it closed out, but Lebanon Valley, they cleaned it up. They clutched up. Same thing with the control all the way inside that round 4 of the control. You just saw Lebanon Valley had the better setup. However, Jesse, we have our interviewee. It's going to be Tenacious from Lebanon Valley. He's going to be hopping on the booth with us. Congratulations on the victory, Tenacious. And I mean, we don't have him just yet, so I'll congratulate him in a second. But that's a big congratulations for Lebanon Valley. It's a big game in their standings, and a big statement to them being in the top 10 for the Coaches Bowl.
So I'm sorry, I was kind of just looking away for a second. I know you saw me, I was doing that, but I was just kind of looking over some things from Lebanon Valley College's recent matches, because I mean, with them winning this match against Shawnee, this very clearly puts them at the number 1 spot in this division right now. So kind of looking in towards the later half of this part of the season, Lebanon Valley, their toughest opponent so far was Shenandoah. It was only a 3-2 victory for them over Shenandoah in week number 2. So you got to think that if Shenandoah was able to play Lebanon Valley College this tight, and looking at this bracket with Shenandoah being at 1 and 2, I mean, I just need to wonder what's really going wrong with Shenandoah right now. If they're able to go up against Shawnee State, I mean, I don't see why they can't take that series against Shawnee State, unless Shawnee State just had a really, really bad series today, which again is possible. But I mean, the consistency that we're seeing from Lebanon Valley College right now, they've been tested too. That's the thing. Like they've won
been tested.
A 3-1, they've won a 3-2. And then back-to-back 3-0s now, and against a 3-0 against another team that was 3-0 going into this is just an impressive feat in itself. So I mean, I think this whole division right now in this in this Eastern Division, I think is just completely up for grabs outside of the top seed in Lebanon Valley College.
Maybe there's a few monsters lurking in the dark of the standings that we just haven't seen on stream just yet. I'm excited to see what happens throughout it, but we do have Tenacious here for the interview. Welcome to the booth and congratulations on a big 3-0 win.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, I want to ask right away because it was very close on paper. The teams, I mean, Shawnee State 3-0, you guys 3-0, and they had the better map count. What did you guys work on before this week to get the series really in your advantage?
So we've played this team before, just like in scrims and stuff, and we knew just like just play our game, play confident, we'd be good.
Okay, I mean,
we didn't really work on anything specific.
It's very, very simple. I mean, it works for you guys, so it's just, you don't really have to change up too much if it's just working. But, it's exciting to see, and you guys look strong. You break into the top 10 in the coaches poll, and I want to just understand Lebanon Valley College as a team. Just how are you guys feeling this season?
We're feeling good. We got a couple new recruits. They're doing good. We're just excited for Vanguard, to be honest. So any little practice with Team Chem helps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys looked fantastic today. I thought the Search and Destroy was probably one of the best Search and Destroys that we've watched so far in the NACE Starleague. Just kind of wondering if you could walk us through that last round of the Search and Destroys, because we didn't fully get to see the end of it, how it played out. So what kind of happened in that last round of the Search and Destroy?
So we knew like leading up to it, we were like trolling some rounds, and we just kept saying like we just gotta play confident still. So we kind of predicted that they were like gonna go A at first, and I don't know, a couple of my teammates just got a couple picks. I didn't really have to do too much. I just kind of sat back, held some lanes.
Absolutely love to hear it.
Those are the best kind of rounds. Those are the best kind of rounds. But
Amen
I mean, before we let you go for the night, I just want to close out on asking anything you want to shout out, anything you want to say before heading off.
I mean, shout out to you guys for doing this every night. Thank you guys. This is fun. It's awesome that we get to do this in college. That's pretty much it. Shout out to LVC.
Big shout out to LVC. You guys look great. Congratulations on the 3-0. Go enjoy it.
Awesome. Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, you too. Jesse, that was quite the game. Not what we expected, but it was still a treat at that. It wasn't quite the blowout in maps 2 and maps 3. I mean, some rounds were a little bit kind of off-center
super close 3-0
than that, but